on a Thursday afternoon. It's the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Kerry Davis, Andrew Marsh, and Anthony Stalter is not here again.
No, he's not.
No, taking another well-deserved day off.
Much needed.
Probably kicking back, feet up, cocktail with an umbrella.
I don't think so.
I think so. That's how I picture my Anthony right now.
The text message we got didn't sound like he might be, sounded like he might be laid there with children and not doing well. You know, everyone is not feeling great.
Yeah, I've used that one, too. You know, he's got his feet up right now, probably listening to us, giggling away.
We love you, brother.
Honey, get me another one.
Checking us out.
Yeah. Hope you're good, Anthony. Welcome back whenever that is. All right, so we are at the All-Star break in the NHL, and our St. Louis Blues currently sit in a wild card spot. How do we feel about it? We're going to break down a whole bunch of different aspects here of the Blues, and the first one would be the forward group.
Okay.
So when we look at the forward group, to start the season, I think we all had certain expectations for this team overall, and then also for certain individuals.
Yeah.
Let's just go line by line here right now as it's currently constructed.
Okay.
For Pavel Buchnevich, when you look at Pavel Buchnevich, is he meeting the expectations that you had for him?
Okay.
Oh, that's a long pause, Carey. That's usually not good. Sorry, Booch.
I think Buchnevich is a great guy. But if we're talking about the first line, which we are, it feels like there's one guy that is exceeding the expectations right now. Pavel Buchnevich, he's done well. Him and Carey have had streaks where they haven't scored or haven't had points. So for me, I think if you're a top line guy, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you are supposed to be the guy that is putting pucks in the nets, making passes that allow you to get pucks into nets. And I feel like there needs to be a little bit more from that entire first line, except for Robert Thomas. Robert Thomas is probably on par with what the expectations are right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. So if we isolate Booch, he's tied for the lead in goals on the team with Robert Thomas at 17 goals. He is below his pace, though. The last couple of seasons, he's pretty much been a point-a-game guy. He sits at 39 points in 47 games. He's a plus 10, though. Robert Thomas a plus 15. Make of that what you will, because I find that to be a stat that you can lean on a little bit, but don't read into it fully, because some guys are out there for a minus when they have nothing to do with the goal. Or they're out there for a plus and they did nothing out there to earn it. So just being on the ice doesn't necessarily qualify you in my books, but it still gives you a little bit of the information.
Do you feel that last year he had 67 points? Do you feel like he should be a 70? Well, he only played 63 games as well, but he should be an 80-point, at least at bare minimum?
He's a 70 to 80 point guy for me. I think 80 points in a really good year. I think 70 to 80, anywhere in there, is where he should end up. And he might still end up there. He's sitting at 39 right now. You still have, 35 games left. That was good math right there.
That was very good. Good job.
Not bad for a non-college guy, huh? 35 games left, and so we'll see. So let's move along here. We've talked about Robert Thomas. I think this one's pretty simple, pretty quick. I think Robert Thomas is not just meeting expectations from a point standpoint. I think he's exceeding expectations as far as his 200-foot game is concerned.
He's doing a fantastic job, and you can start to see, I guess, the maturation and really he has that A on his sweater for a reason, and it's starting to show what he is and who he is. And he's playing. Well, I think a lot of people complained about the contracts. Will they live up to those contracts? I would say right now Robert Thomas is living up to the contract, and he's doing a great job for this team.
I agree. So that leads us to our third, the three amigos. This is the third amigo, Jordan Kyrou. Currently sits with 37 points in 49 games, 14 goals. Where are you with Jordan Kyrou?
I still need more. Because if you told what you told us a couple of days ago, where some of these guys are not supposed to play 200-foot games. Like, that's not what they're known for, which means if you're going to be in the O-zone and you're supposed to be a top goal getter, you should be leading this team in scoring in terms of scoring goals. And I feel like there are games where he didn't even get a shot on goal last game. There are times where he kind of disappears. And if you're a top player in terms of payroll, you know, one of the top tier, one of the top guys on the payroll, you should not disappear. Your presence should be felt every single night. And I feel like at times You see it. I think he had 3 goals against the Rangers about a month ago.
Yes.
Was it about a month ago?
Yep.
You see it at times, but then at times you're like, well, where the hell is he? What is he doing? And if you don't expect him to be as present on the defensive end, then you got to be showing up clearly every single night on the offensive end.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. So for me, Jordan Kyrou, I think he's done better recently, but he's got to be right there, point for point with Robert Thomas.
Right.
He has to be. And in fact, he should be ahead in points because Robert Thomas, he has to take on a much more difficult role at times playing against some of the other team's best lines and being that centerman who's down low in the defensive zone. Like, it wears a player out.
Yeah.
Jordan Kyrou, it's got to be producing.
Do you think, because his defense has been much better, that it's starting to take away from the offensive side?
No.
Because it reminds me of like a Steph Curry where he didn't play defense at all really that much, but then he got better at defense, but then his offense slowed down a little bit, and trying to figure out, that how to mesh both of those things together where I can still be aggressive and do what I need to do offensively, but I have to show up for my team defensively. So you don't think that's
no. No, he's got plenty of opportunities. That's the thing, is that if you look at the games where he gets shots on goal, he has opportunities to score. He has opportunities to create offense. He's just
not going in for him?
For a while there at the start of the season, he was snake bitten pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was like 6, 7, 8 games there where he wasn't producing anything. And that's why I said recently he's produced a little bit more. 37 points now here at the All-Star break. We'll see, exactly what he's got left in the tank. But I'm with you. He needs to give us a little bit more. Let's move to the second line.
I love the second line.
As the second line sits currently, let's start with Brandon Saad. 21 points, 49 games, 13 goals. What are you seeing from him?
I think he's doing what he's supposed to do. There was a time where him and Shin kind of disappeared as well. There was about an 8 or 9 game stretch, but I think he's doing what he's supposed to do for a second line player on the offensive side and the defensive side.
Yeah, he's reliable, right? So what you did is you signed Brandon Saad to this contract because he's a 20-goal scorer. And every year of his career, I believe, except for one, he scored 20 goals, and he's got 13 goals right now.
So he's almost there.
He's going to get 20 again this year.
He's where he's
That's what you signed. That's what you want. That's what you need from Brandon Saad. So I'm good with him. Let's move over to center position. Braden Shen, 27 points, 49 games. Again, another guy with 13 goals. He's a -17 on the year, which doesn't look great. But again, he plays a lot in different situations. Your thoughts on the captain so
I think we talked about it. He had that stretch there where we looked it up. It was like 9 or 10 games where he didn't have a point.
Wasn't pretty.
It was not great at all. And so he figured it out. You talked about it when he scored the shootout goal, which didn't count as a point, but you mentioned that might actually open him up. And then he went on a stretch there where he started scoring and started being more involved on the offensive end. He is the one that's going to get this team wherever they are going to go, in my opinion. He is the heartbeat. Like, he's the guy that they're either going to follow or they're going to go in the opposite direction. Hopefully they continue to follow him because he feels like the guy that is pulling people in the direction and standing up in front of it in the manner in which you should as a captain.
Yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you. I love Braden Shen as a player, as an individual, as a captain, all the above. He brings everything to the table. He did have that little dry spell that he's corrected. He's got 9 points his last 10 games, 5 goals, 4 assists. So he's getting on the scoreboard. And, you don't ever have to look to find him.
How frustrating is it when you go a stretch like that of not putting in, not getting any points?
Well, let me tell you, Kerry, I had a few. I don't know if you've seen my career stats, but there were patches of 15, 20 games without goals,
That's tough.
It wasn't my job. But no, it is frustrating for those guys whose job it is to score goals. You feel pressure, man. And I bet you he felt even more pressure because he's wearing the C.
Right.
It's crazy, but it adds a layer of responsibility to you where you feel like you have to do more, have to give more, have to be more.
I think I saw that a lot last year with Ryan O'Reilly where, even when they were playing bad, he would stand up and say, it's on me, I got to be better. I'm like, dude, it ain't on you.
I know, but good leaders do that, Kerry.
You do.
You know that.
You should.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell is one of those guys.
That's right, exactly. All right, last guy we're going to get into, and then we'll hit the rest of the forwards here later on in the show. Jake Neighbors, 19 points in 49 games, 15 goals, started on the fourth line, has worked his way all the way up to the first line, and now he's sitting comfortably on that second line with Shen And Saad, CD, I know you're a big fan, but what do you think so far?
I am a huge fan of Jake Neighbors. I think he is, for me, and obviously I don't know nearly as much much hockey as you do, but when I'm watching him, I can just tell the presence of a young player that has the patience of a veteran player, just not overly concerned with the things that are going on around him, but just doing his job day in and day out. Wherever he needs to be, it feels like he is exactly where he's supposed to be. There's no wondering. You see him, you feel his presence, and he's second on the team in goals scored. He's done a fantastic job and really just worked his way up, as you said, from fourth liner to now on the second line. He has done everything. I think if you are a coach and you put on the film, I think Jake Neighbors would be a guy that pops out and you say, play like him and you'll be okay.
Yeah, he's a future captain for me, this guy. Somewhere down the road, he's wearing a letter on his jersey for sure. And it's gotten to the point where, calling every single game, you get to see a guy's tendencies.
Right.
It's gotten to the point where I can pick the times he's made a mistake. Mm-hmm. It should be the other way around.
Right,
with a young player, you should be able to pick the times they do something good.
Right.
But Jake Neighbors is pretty damn solid every single shift.
With 30 games into his career, how many games has he played? 15? No, not 30.
No, he's got a lot more than that. He's got 49 this year. I think he played 25 or 30 last year.
So less than 100 games in his career.
He's hovering around that 100-game mark. But this is his first full season.
Full season, correct. Yeah. It is fantastic to watch. Like, it is fantastic to see him play because this team needed that. They needed somebody and you wouldn't think it would be a young guy that would come in and kind of be the one to stabilize things and be the person that's playing most consistent. I think he's been the most consistent of everybody all season long when I watch him play.
Yeah, he's fun, and he's a great dude, too. Around the team all the time. He's always willing to talk, have a good time, talk about hockey, and you can just tell that he's a born leader. So Jake Neighbors, so far, for me, satisfying everything that he should be out there. All right, today's going to be a real fun show. We're going to do a lot of different things. First of all, we want to hear from you, too. The mic drops are available on the 101 ESPN mobile app. Just click the little microphone there. And also, you can leave us a voicemail on the Air Comfort Service text line. That number is 314-399-9646. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about this team at the All-Star break? Whether it's a forward, a defenseman, the coaching staff, Doug Armstrong, if there's one thing you want to highlight, whether it's positive or negative, let us know about it. We'll be playing those at some point during the show. And again, we talked about this being an exciting day. We are going to have a day with nothing but brand new original content. Stuff that has never been done before, certainly never been done on this radio station. Coming up next, Ask Uncle Rivers on 101 ESPN.
Hey, fellas, it's Carey, and if you are a man that is struggling with using the bathroom, using the restroom, maybe you're straining while you're urinating, listen, could be embarrassing. Maybe you feel like you're alone. Well, you're not. If your man is 60 years or older, it is a common condition. It's known as BPH, also known as an enlarged prostate. There's no need to worry. My friends at the Midwest Institute for Non-Surgical Therapy have the solution. It's non-surgical. That's the best part about it. It's minimally invasive. It has lower risks of complications, no hospital stay, sutures, scarring, or general anesthesia. If you've talked to your doctor about this procedure or a procedure for BPH, you know all of the details and all of the things that go along with it. This procedure from Dr. Akinwande and Mint STL has none of those issues. It will allow you to resume normal activities typically within a few days, all while feeling better and feeling relieved. After the procedure, most men notice a difference within a month or two, and the best part about it is covered by most insurances, so stop waiting and get going. Reach out to mintstl.com today to schedule your appointment. That's MINTSTL.com.
Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. All right, it's time for Ask Uncle Rivers. And
very original segment.
Yes, nobody's ever done anything like this before.
Yep.
And the way it works is any question you have about anything in life, anything, sports, kids, relationships, cars, trucks, whatever, text it in. Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, or shoot it into the Air Alliance YouTube channel that we've got going, the old snake pit. And Marshy does a good job of navigating both sides of it here. Does a good job. And Marshy, have we got any questions yet for Ask Uncle Rivers?
I'm looking, I'm sifting through. Some of these are, I don't know if we can talk about them on the radio.
Well, you know.
We'll just start with the 6-1 hate. I mean, this is a typical 6-1 hate question. We get it every single day. So when are you actually going to be critical of Bill DeWitt?
Oh, that's got to be our guy, the 6-1 hate.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess we're always critical of Bill DeWitt.
Not enough.
Yeah, but so, Carey, at what point do we just continue beating the body while it's dead with the broomstick?
Until
what, you get tired?
Yeah.
I got tired.
Till you're fatigued, and then you take a rest.
But I did. That's what he's mad at.
And then you start again. It's the problem. You didn't start over. You just stopped when you got tired. No fatigue, no fear. You just keep going.
I guess I'm waiting.
Until you are no longer able to do anything either.
I guess I'm waiting for something more to happen. I'm waiting for something to blow up or something to go really good in order to blame or give credit. I don't know.
You just got to wait and see, man. They Mozeliak did what he said he was going to. I don't know where the problem is. He said we needed 3 starters. We got 3 starters. And now we have to wait and see what this lineup looks like, what this pitching rotation looks like. I think people would have been happy had they got some bigger names. Maybe if Josh Hader would have signed in St. Louis, people would have been thrilled.
Who's spending that money?
Who not me, clearly. not DeWitt. So, yeah, that is probably the problem that fans have.
All right, Marshy, what do we got?
From the 636, Dear Uncle Rivers,
yes,
why is this segment not a ripoff of the opening drive's Ask Uncle Randy?
Are you
First
talking
of all,
about?
It's way different. It's way different. This one's Ask Uncle Rivers. The other one's Ask Uncle Randy. It's a completely different name. And I can tell you this, the answers are going to be completely different.
They probably are.
Just as the questions should probably be completely different.
Uncle Randy does give some great... I've sat in there with him for a while, a year and a half of listening to Uncle Randy. Uncle Randy gives great advice, Jamie.
I understand
Uncle
that.
Rivers, there's a high bar. Now, I will say that any of the information you get here, we are not held liable for
No,
anything.
it's just our opinion.
It's just an opinion.
Yeah, we're not professionally trained. Maybe
do
a little
with this
bit.
what you want.
We have been in several therapists' offices, just on the opposite side.
Plenty of time.
Yeah.
I can give you some answers.
All right.
You might not like
Marshy, we got anything else?
Well, I do remember when I was working with the when it was Kerber and Smallman for a few months. I was a part of Ask Uncle Randy, and one of the questions had to do with, I believe, like a listener falling in love with his wife's sister or something like that. So to hear Randy give advice on something like that, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But Jamie,
do you have any advice on that?
What's that?
A listener falling in love with his wife's sister.
Yeah, that's not a great idea. I've seen that happen, to be honest.
Don't do that.
Yeah, you guys can do the research. There's a really, really, really popular Hall of Fame goaltender that this happened to. He's now married to his ex-wife's sister.
Oh.
Yeah. You guys can do the research. I can't do that for you. Apparently, he's fine. Saw him not too long ago.
Really?
He looks happy. Yeah. I mean, he's nowhere near his ex-wife right now.
Clearly.
But, That's easy for family reunion.
How do they go?
They still have the same Christmas schedule?
My God.
All right. I found one here that from the 636 is, Dear Uncle Rivers, what do you look for in a good bourbon, and do you ever consume rye whiskey? So I am a bourbon drinker, and what I look for It depends on what kind of a mood I'm in. Every now and then, I just want like smooth sailing. So something that just you can taste it, a little bit, just a little burn, not a lot.
Bite.
No bite. I mean, a little.
Bite.
You got to know it's there, right? So just a little nibble, nothing too crazy. But then other times, man, I like to get into a nice bourbon where you take that smooth sip, and then all of a sudden it's like, it gets you. And you're like, I need that again.
You appreciate it. You know it's there. It's there with you.
Do you drink bourbon?
I do. I drink. I'm. My favorite drink is an old fashioned, so I like it. Just I'll sip on that, sit back and maybe sit by the fire, wherever I'm at, watching a game, relaxing. That's my drink, and I'm just going to.
Do you like it just the way it's made?
I do.
Okay, so I always alter it just a little bit.
What do you do?
A couple things. So there's two ways that I like the old-fashioned. And the first one is my girlfriend. She makes an incredible old-fashioned.
Okay.
She uses Elijah Craig barrel-proof bourbon. It's a little stronger, got more bite to it, right? And she also uses barrel-aged cherries in it and all this stuff. But
I'm coming over for a drink.
Yeah,
You're like
and
right
then
across
she'll
the street.
smoke it. Put the little thing on and smoke the old fashioned.
I have had one of that.
Okay, it's a game changer. Okay, that's like the Rolls Royce.
Okay,
so I'm spoiled to that. Now, when we don't have all of that set up, I like my old fashioned, but I always order. I go light on the syrup or light on the sugar.
Okay,
because
you don't want it sweet.
I don't. Just a little bit, right? So that I know it's an old fashioned, but I want to taste the bourbon. For me, the bourbon has to be the star. It can't be the sweetness that's the star. So that's how I always order it. And places that I go know that, and they make them real good. One of my favorite places was there not too long ago. It was the Ritz-Carlton.
Okay.
We did a lobby bar there on the Saturday night. We were over there, and my guys who work the bar there are awesome. They know when I order it, they make it just the right way. So that's my take. And as far as the rye whiskey, I love Angel's Envy. The rye is great. Michter's straight rye is great too. Love those ones, and they're not expensive. They're not like outrageous either.
There you go. That's good advice, Uncle Jamie.
See
Uncle
that?
Rivers.
Look at that. All right, Andrew.
From the 618, best way to slim down a beer gut without quitting consuming alcohol, since we're talking about bourbon here.
So I am living proof of this, by the way. Now, I did stop drinking beer on a regular basis. And Carey, as you know, I was about 280 pounds about 3 years ago. Okay. And got all the way down to like 209. And then put on some more muscle here in the last little bit because I want some muscle. I like the muscular look. I didn't really like the Slim Jim look. You know, I was like, okay. But I did it all while still having fun. And so the best way to slim down is alter your diet, first of all. Get a good, healthy diet. That's where it starts in the kitchen, is what I say. Good, healthy diet. Get active every day. So for me, for like the first month, I didn't even go to a gym. I walked. Yes. And I would put on my favorite podcast, usually something from here at 101 ESPN. And I would walk away from my home for 25 minutes. And then you got to walk back 25 minutes. I know, it's crazy math, right? That turns into a 50-minute walk. Yes. And then I just started doing it daily. I started losing about 10, 11, 12 pounds. I was like, okay, I'm confident enough to go to the gym. And I would get on the treadmill for like 20, 25 minutes, get on the bike for like 20 minutes, and then I'd find one body part just to start, kickstart. Because if you haven't been working out, like you don't want to shock and awe your body. No. So if it was like chest, I'd go and do light of the machine, just light for like 30, 40 reps. Yep. Get the muscles breathing again, get them active again, and it starts to burn the fat too at the same time. So that's the way I kick-started it. And at the same time, was able to sit back at night, and I would reward myself with like one nice pour of bourbon. There you go. Just a little something, take the edge off.
Most importantly, abs are made in the kitchen. Don't think that they are not. Start there.
We have one from the 618. I feel like this is just the PG-13 version of Ask Uncle Randy. LOL. Anyways, what advice would you give to a new dad of twins?
Wow. Yeah, that was a tough time. Okay, the best advice I can give you with twins, absolutely make sure that they are on the same eating schedule and same sleep schedule. And what happened there is the poop schedule follows, right? It will. And so the best way to do it is that whenever one of them wakes up for a feeding, you wake up the other one. Okay. Even if they're asleep, it doesn't matter. Wake them up, feed them, and then you can count it like clockwork. Not too long later, you're going to be cleaning up the backyard there. Yeah, they're going to have the dump.
They were pooping in the backyard?
No.
Not that backyard.
I wish I could train them that good. No, so then the bathroom's going to come in, you clean that up, and then you put them both back down to sleep at the same time. And eventually they end up on the same schedule, which is the only way you can do it. Because both parents can't get up all the time.
Right.
Shift work, too. Yeah. So my ex-wife would do the first shift, I do the second shift, she'd do the third shift, I do the fourth shift. So at least there's a gap there when you're getting a little bit of sleep.
Yeah, because you do need rest.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you're getting that. You preferably sleep when they're sleeping if you can get them on the schedule that allows you to rest when it's time for you to rest.
100%. All right, Marsh, we got time for one more.
All right, let's see here. All right, from the 573, Dear Uncle Rivers, with spring training around the corner, have you learned how to pitch yet? Because I saw your pitching last year, and you definitely have room for improvement.
What are you talking about? That thing went from the pitcher's mound right to the home plate. I threw a breaking ball.
And that was the same day that Adam Wainwright got his 200th, right?
I got Waino started.
Off. Yeah.
I was the opener.
They have
that
to
day.
respect that part of it.
Yeah.
You got
the fact that my shoulder almost popped out of joint.
Did you try to wing it? Did you try to give it? Because I feel like my fear is I'm overly competitive, and I'm probably going to see. I want to see what the gun says.
Yeah.
Like I just me. And I know my elbow and my arm,
so the shoulder,
they're not great.
For me, is an issue, for sure. But I did give it, I did go probably about 70% on it. I was going to lob it in, and then I started chucking some heat out here. Anthony and I were throwing the ball around before that. And I was throwing some heat, feeling pretty good about myself. But let me tell you, when you're on the mound and you're elevated like that, it changes the trajectory of how you throw the ball.
Yeah.
And so when you haven't thrown off of a mound in a long time, the last time I did it was playing in a Little League World Series qualifier at like 13 years old, off the mound.
Been a while.
And so my biggest fear was launching this thing straight up, like 6 feet over the catcher's head.
That's not great.
So I was dialed in. It was maybe a little outside, although Angel Hernandez called it a strike, so that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So it was a ball.
Probably.
Hey, got called a strike, okay? In the record books, it was a strike. That's all I have to say. All right, he's Kerry Davis. He's Cousin Carey. I'm Uncle Rivers. That's DJ Dirty Elbows on the board behind us there. We're going to get into some NFL action here. What now for the head coaches that did not get hired for one of these NFL jobs? Uncle Bill and Mike Vrabel, you're on deck here on 101 ESPN. All right, Super Bowl right around the corner, Kerry Davis, and there's no better way to jump in on any of the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And look, if you're like me or anybody in my family for that matter, Super Bowl Sunday is certainly about the game, that's for sure. But it's about getting a great seat on the couch, grabbing some of your favorite snacks, maybe that buffalo chicken wing dip. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Yeah. And then you can jump on FanDuel and you can place some super bets.
Yeah, Jamie.
See what I did there, Kerry?
I did. I like that.
Super Bowl super bets.
FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W or two, or possibly three. Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for which player will score a touchdown. Maybe you like Travis Kelce, Deebo Samuel, Isaiah Pacheco, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers, join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/fast to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/fast. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be 21 and older, present Illinois. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are now on the All-Star break. They're on their All-Star break. They'll be back February 10th, taking on the Buffalo Sabres, and you can catch the action right here on 101 ESPN. We're going to talk about your Blues with Chris Kerber at 4:30, so stay tuned for that. Once again, Blues back in action February 10th. Tonight, we have some NBA action for you right here on 101 ESPN as the Boston Celtics take on the Los Angeles Lakers. Pregame starts at 6 o'clock. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back here to the Fast Lane. Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, and Carey, Dan Quinn hired as the new head coach to the Washington Commanders, thus closing out this season's coaching availability in the NFL. And we'll talk about Dan Quinn in a second, and we'll talk about that, whether we think it's a good hire or not for the Commanders. The biggest story that I have, though, is how does this coaching carousel, or how does this coaching tenure, or whatever the hell you want to call it right now, coaching season end without Mike Vrabel or Bill Belichick getting a job?
I would have to say just maybe teams were looking at what they did this year, and not looking at the body of work. It's Bill Belichick has had a few years since Tom Brady left where they have not been great. And this was kind of the I guess the pinnacle of all of it. It was bad this year for them. Mac Jones not doing a great job. Mike Vrabel was put in a difficult position. You got three quarterbacks that have played this season. They just didn't have an opportunity to do much of anything in a division for the Titans that anybody could have won. So that the fact that they were unable to have the success, I would assume that most of these organizations were just looking at the body of work from this year and saying, I don't think this is the right time for that person, going in different directions. You got some coaches that you didn't expect to get hired, some names you hadn't heard of, some coaches that didn't get jobs. Ben Johnson turned down the job. The Dan Quinn hiring is an interesting one to me. And because I think when we were watching that Cowboys versus Packers game, I believe I texted you all and said, yeah, everybody's getting fired. It's over.
You did.
For the Cowboys. Everyone's getting fired. Dan Quinn just ruined any opportunity he may have had to get a job. And I honestly thought the Seattle Seahawks would be the team that Dan Quinn would go to. But I would assume that the Seattle Seahawks watched that game, that Packers game, and said, oh, no, thank you. And so they went with a different defensive coordinator in McDonald. So it's been intriguing, to say the least. The best hire we talked about yesterday is obviously Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan, going to the Los Angeles Chargers. That's probably the team that is best set up to have success. But it's been an interesting offseason, to say the least.
So do you think there's any situation that occurred where Vrabel and Belichick turned down jobs? Like, do you think there was opportunities to where they're offered a job, but it's not the job they wanted? Like, I could see, because Bill Belichick apparently interviewed a couple of different places. Doubled down in Atlanta to where everybody thought that was a done deal.
Yep.
Well, it wasn't. I ultimately, I don't know if we'll ever find out these things, but I wonder if at one point Bill or Mike Vrabel said, nah, I'm good. Like, this is not what I'm looking for. I'll wait.
Well, possibly. I mean, I would assume that Bill Belichick wants more control over any situation that he's going into. He has the credibility for the most part. I know people will look at the last few years and say, yeah, maybe not. The drafts haven't been great. But Bill Belichick has earned the right to pretty much pick the spot that he wants and do it in the manner in which he sees fit, because he's won more championships than any other head coach. So why wouldn't you give him that respect? And so maybe that's what it was. Maybe Atlanta was like, yeah, we're not willing to remove certain people from their positions to give you that role or have you working hand in hand. No, you coach, and this person will do the roster construction. And maybe Bill said, I'm not interested in that. But either way, at some point, if he decides to coach next year and more openings every year, there are at least 3 to 5 openings, 3 to 7 openings, he'll have an opportunity to rebound and go somewhere where they will more than likely give him that ability to do whatever he wants to do.
So based on the fact that they didn't get jobs, why do you think they didn't? Because, I know you said, recency thing, but that's fine. But every coach deals with that. Yeah. Every coach deals with the recency thing, right? So if Dan Quinn, he get hired to the Commanders, and you were like, in your head, you're like, no, I would have packed because that one game. Okay, but if we're doing that,
Yeah, but it was really bad.
I know.
There is a difference.
So then what could be so bad from Bill and Vrabel then? Belichick and Vrabel,
I could not speak to. I would assume, I don't know, because I've never sat in a room with them, obviously, definitely not during an interview process, to know what their demands or their needs are or how they handle that process.
Do you think Bill wanted full control?
I think he did.
Because Atlanta is not set up like that.
Yeah, I think he probably said, if you're getting me, you're getting Bill Belichick and how I do all of this.
Okay.
And he did one of the things, threw his rings on the table. How many you got? Okay, so I know what I'm doing, and if you don't allow me to do it this way, this is not a place for me. Which, in fairness, makes sense. If you're Bill Belichick, you got 6 rings, 6 Super Bowl rings. Why in the hell would I do it your way when my way is proven time and time and time again? I had one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. Mm-hmm. Atlanta doesn't have that right now.
But you could go get him.
But I can find him.
He's retired.
He's coming out of retirement.
Bring
He's about
him
to make
back.
$25 million in the booth. Yeah, the hell I would do that for. But I think with Vrabel, I don't know what that was, because I think we all understood that team was not set up to have success this year. Ryan Tannehill, you had a quarterback, and they drafted 2 quarterbacks back-to-back years.
Yeah.
So you knew, and then Ryan Tannehill became the starting quarterback. So you're like, well, what the hell did you all do in your evaluation?
Yeah, that worked out poorly.
It didn't work out great.
Here's 2 quarterbacks for the future.
And neither one of them are going to start.
Way down the road, apparently.
Tannehill still is going to be a starter. So I think that situation was it just wasn't done well, and it didn't work out well for him. But I don't know why he didn't get an opportunity, because if a couple of teams hired defensive coordinators, the Washington Commanders hired a defensive coordinator, the Seattle Seahawks hired a defensive coordinator, Mike Vrabel comes from a defensive background, why they didn't look to that, and maybe they wanted to give guys an opportunity that haven't had one yet. So that's the only answer I have for you. But there are a couple of, Dave Canales going to the Panthers. I think that was an intriguing one, because who the hell thought Dave Canales was going to get a job? I didn't.
No.
He wasn't one of the hot names.
It's an interesting choice.
But the Panthers, it's almost like, I'll take it. I nominate myself, volunteer,
I wonder if people were just not even answering the phone.
I doubt
it.
But if they had other opportunities, they probably, looked in other directions. So, I think Gerard Mayo, I hope he does a good job. He's a former player, been in the Patriots organization his entire career as a player and then as a coach and now the head coach. So he should get an opportunity to be pretty good. But, it was some intriguing names that were chosen. So I actually like the fact that it's new people, and not recycling of head coaches.
I'm with you.
How the hell are people going to get an opportunity if they never get the opportunity?
I'm with you 100%. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how all of it works out either way. That's Kerry Davis, Jamie Rivers here, Andrew Marsh. We're going to continue with our original content festival here. We'll call it the All-Star Festivities of our favorite segments. This one is one that started a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It was called the Rivs and BK Show, midday. I enjoyed it so much, we're bringing it back today. And all you have to do is text in 314-399-9646. It's called One's Gotta Go. You give us 3 things, and we have to throw away one of them. That's next here on 101 ESPN.
You're ripping off a brand.
Very off-brand.
Just one.
One. Gotta go.
We're back here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers here, Kerry Davis, Andrew Marsh, our guy Anthony. Probably be back next week with us. And it's time for One's Gotta Go. I know you're thinking to yourself, man, I've heard this before somewhere. Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. Rivs and BK. It's never been done since.
Yeah, it's new.
It's new.
It's All-Star Week, baby. We got to bring out the best.
The best segments. That's right. Okay, so one way, a couple ways.
Some of these, oh my goodness.
Couple ways
This
you
is
can participate is on the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, or jump into the Snake Pit, which has been very active today. Checking in on the Snake Pit. They got a lot of stuff going on, always a lot of fun. And that's brought to you by Air Alliance Team Heating and Cooling on the YouTube channel. Marshy, let's go.
All right, let's start off with the 314. One's Gotta Go. Toasted Rabs, Ted Drew's frozen custard, or red hot riplets.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one's easy for me. It's actually tough. Couple reasons. Ice cream kills my teeth because I got chips and cracks and fake teeth and real teeth and all sorts of crap going on in my mouth. So when I eat ice cream, it'll like zing me.
Yeah.
So, but the red hot riplets, I don't know, man. If they're there, I'll eat them. We had a whole bunch around here for a while, and but then I'm like, I don't ever go looking for. I don't covet it.
Yeah.
So for me, the riplets would go.
For me, it's Ted Drew's, and only because
That's a St. Louis institution, Carey.
So are the red hot riplets. Only because, as you said, ice cream doesn't sit well with me. I gotta take a pill. Yeah, it's lactose intolerant. It's a bad day whenever I have ice cream. So I prefer not to feel bad.
Yeah.
And I would have to go without.
Marshy, what about you?
Well, I'm keeping Toasted Rabs. That's number one. I will. Oh man, I think I'm gonna get rid of. Just because I don't go there all the time, probably Ted Drew's.
See?
Wow.
I don't go there enough.
We're going to be shunned.
Sorry about this, Ted. Ted's a good guy, too.
I believe it.
All right, that's a tough one. I mean, it's a tough one.
Next.
All right, from the 314, this one is from Justin. One's got to go social media edition: Facebook, Twitter /X, Snapchat, or Instagram.
Oh, this one's easy for me. I'm getting rid of Snapchat. I don't even know what the hell it is.
Yeah, I don't have Snapchat.
So let me tell you a quick story. I had no idea what Snapchat is, and I've got 4 kids, and I text them. Like, we have a group text, a group, like, official iMessage texting. Crickets. And I'm watching them, CD, I'm watching them at my home. And the phone's blah, 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 and they're answering. I'm like, what are you answering? Oh, those are snaps. Like, wait, what's a snap? What's Snapchat? I'm like, so that's what you're always on your phone doing? I go, okay. I handed my phone to my girlfriend and said, download Snapchat. I made a group just for my kids.
Yeah.
And added only my kids. And now that I get answers.
They respond.
I had to download Snapchat in order to talk to my kids who are right beside. All they had to do was go to the text messages, but they didn't.
Too busy Snapchat.
Yeah. So
I'm with you. I don't even have Snapchat. I don't know the purpose of it. I got too many social medias that I don't even do enough on anyway.
I'm getting rid of Facebook. Does anybody ever go on that? I'm getting rid of Facebook. I don't even go on. I have a Facebook. I never go on it.
Facebook.
Unless I need to know when people's birthdays are, that's when I will go on Facebook.
I will say this. I did not have Facebook for about 15 years. And when I got back on, I was happy to get back on. Because there's so many people, like for me, former teammates and guys I played with and their kids and all this stuff, like kids I grew up with that I haven't lived in Ottawa for, 35 years now, right? Now I go on Facebook and I can see them. I can see their kids. And so when I do see these guys, former teammates or guys I played against or whatever, I can talk to them and be like, hey, man, I saw your kid graduated college. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Like, it's not like, so for me now, at this period of my life, I enjoy Facebook.
Yeah, I do too.
This one comes from the 636. One's got to go: sports, music, or alcohol.
Oh, wow.
Sports, we wouldn't have a job, so that has to stay.
Yeah.
I'm not a big drinker, so I can deal without alcohol.
Oh, you say that now.
You
say that now.
I can.
You say that
but
now.
music is like, you're just riding in the car. Sometimes you want to listen to music.
Yeah.
When you're at the gym, what the hell are you going?
I know. This is the first thing I thought of.
What are you going to do? If you go to the gym without headphones or any type of music, you might be crazy. But that's fine. That's you. So yeah, that's a rough one. You go ahead. Mine for me is alcohol.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take a different angle on this. Okay. One, sports. Yeah, we don't have jobs without that. So sorry about that. Like literally, everything I do is sports.
Kind of important.
Music. Yeah, I work out every day, and if I didn't have music, it would be very difficult.
Just walking through the gym without headphones on, you are a
weirdo. No offense. So I think it'll be alcohol that goes too, and I know that's going to be shocking. But the local dispensary tells me that I can still get my fix.
There you go.
So I can listen to some music, put on the old Bob Marley,
and have a good time.
Smoke my house out.
Be good to go.
And watch hockey.
That's I was in the same line of thinking. There's other things that you can do to supplement alcohol.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to get rid of that because
Gummy bears, baby.
yeah, there's
Be careful with those. You don't know how much is in there. You have you
No.
sit in one
You go
spot.
to Hippos.
You should.
The best.
Listen. Yeah. Tried them.
Not Uncle Ned, okay? Marshy, we got time for a couple more.
All right, let's see here. Let's go with this one. Okay, this one's interesting. One's got to go. Star Wars, Star Trek, Aviator, or Jurassic Park? Which one are you getting rid of?
Okay, Star Wars.
Star Trek,
Yeah.
Aviator, and Jurassic Park.
Aviator. I don't even know what the hell that is.
Which one is Aviator? Is it Avatar? Do they mean Avatar?
If it's Avatar,
If it's
it can
Avatar,
go too.
Let's just
I
say
would say-
Avatar because I have no idea what Aviator
I would
is.
keep Avatar. I would keep it. But I'm not a Trekkie or
Captain James
a
T.
May the
Kirk?
Fourth be with you.
Dr. Spock?
I know.
With the Vulcan death grip?
Never.
I don't
Maybe
even know.
late at
I don't
night.
even know if I want to know you anymore.
not a Trekkie. I'm not a Trekkie. I'm not a Star
We
Wars.
grew up with 4 channels. In my
And
home,
it was all
Star
of them.
Trek was on every Sunday morning.
I know, and I chose not to watch.
Live long and prosper, Kerry.
Okay, yeah, I never did.
Yeah, I'm getting rid of Star Trek too.
There you go.
I never was a Trekkie. I'm more of a Star Wars guy. Aviator. I looked up The Aviator. It has Leo DiCaprio in it, directed by Martin Scorsese.
I think I've seen that.
So maybe that's what they're thinking
I
of.
knew it was an Aviator movie, but
Still
I
haven't seen it, so I'm getting rid of that if that is still part of it.
All right, Marshy, we got time for one more. Do we have anything in the snake pit? Nah, they're busy talking about each other over here. All right, what do you got?
All right, this one's interesting. From the 912, one's got to go. The St. Louis Rams Super Bowl win, the 2006 World Series, or the Blues Stanley Cup.
That's easy. The Rams Super Bowl win. Get out of here, you filthy animals. You didn't want to be here anyways. No, I'm just kidding. But you look back, though.
Here's the thing.
Actually, no, hang on. Can I recant?
Yeah, I was going to say.
I didn't say final answer yet.
Okay, because I think we're going to say the same thing.
The Stanley Cup is not going anywhere.
No, it's
Because
not.
that's the only one you have.
There you go.
The Super Bowl is not going anywhere because that's the
There
only one
you
you have.
go.
I know. Sometimes the hamster
It
finds
takes
its
a
way,
while.
okay?
They got 11 of them.
Yeah.
Wipe
can
that
go.
one off.
Yeah.
You got 11 of them. You're
I
okay.
like where your head's at.
That's where I was thinking.
I'm getting rid of the Super Bowl win. Well, hear me out. One, I was like maybe 3 years old when that happened, so I don't remember it as well as the other ones.
Probably not.
2019, we're not getting rid of that. 2006, I was actually at the game that they won.
Okay.
And we can't take that away from BT.
Oh, that's right.
We can't take that away from BT, so I'm going to keep that one.
Okay, now that changes a lot of things, too.
Man, I don't know if it changes.
Oh!
I mean, I
want BT to have his World
I do
Series
too,
ring.
but I
don't care that much about the Super Bowl. I don't feel like it's all that nostalgic now that we don't have a team.
But it was the only one.
I know.
What else are you if you don't have that Super Bowl, Jamie, it's almost like the Rams were never here.
No, they had an even better team the following year, but didn't
They
win.
didn't win. They didn't win. We talk about the teams that won.
Yeah, but
They won a couple years later. They didn't win.
I can't diss on my guy BT
So
like that.
what if it was the 2011 World Series?
Then it'd be easy. 2011. 2011 World
You
Series.
take that one away?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
no.
one was, yeah.
I take the Super Bowl away still.
All right. You guys just got me flip-flopping all over the damn place. Just get rid of them all. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, keep that Stanley Cup, baby. Never forget that parade. Or never remember it. Either way. All right. It's the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. We're going to talk about the Cardinals next. So 618, tune in here. Do the Cardinals have a knack of stunting the growth of their younger players? We're going to talk about some development here on the Fast Lane at 101 ESPN. Welcome back here to the Fast Lane 101 ESPN. We're talking about the Cardinals youth here. It's a segment that Carey likes to call bird watching. Make of it what you will. Carey, I love the title of this, by the way. It was your idea. It started with something else, but this is where we're at. I love it. So the Cardinals have a couple of young players right now currently in their lineup. We'll talk about Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn. And they're fixtures, right? Like, there's no way that the Cardinals play next year without either of these guys, specifically Jordan Walker.
Correct.
And now Mason Wynn, it's his job to lose, I would believe. Don't you?
I agree.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit because a lot of the fan base here with the Cardinals like to dog on the way they handle the youth as they come in, the development. Like when you talk about Randy Arozarena, you go all the way back to that. You know, he never really got a chance here in St. Louis. Or at least that's what we feel, that he never got the chance.
Wasn't enough games.
Went on to Tampa, and we know what happened there. And now he's on the trade block again, which is weird. I don't really understand that because he still has some arbitration left. Something went sideways somewhere in Tampa, and that's why you hear his name in the rumor mill. But I go back and look at this, and I don't think it's been that bad. I think the way they handled Dylan Carlson was terrible. I think that was terrible. And now it was mostly due to a pandemic that was going on. Because he probably should have played another full season at AAA ball. But he got force-fed into the majors, and then he had sporadic performances, then he had injuries, and he's really never, in my opinion, he's never really had that solid foundation. It's always been kind of turbulent for him. Whereas I think had he had a little more development time, it may have looked different. But look at the other guys. Look at Nolan Gorman. He seems to be fine.
He did.
The Cardinals did a good job with him.
Well,
did they not?
I think he's done. I think Nolan Gorman is who he is. He's going to be your power from the left side of the plate. He's going to be your guy that can hopefully hit between 30 to 40 home runs, 45 on a good year. Like he's a guy that you should see 37 home runs from. And if you get that,
I'd say that's a winning formula.
I agree. And so hopefully that's who he is. But when you're talking about the development of young players, for me, development comes when guys get opportunities to play consistently. And you talk about Jake Neighbors being a young player. When you're a young player, the one thing you're afraid of is messing up. You don't want to mess up. Why? Because you don't want to get taken out of the game, or you don't want to get benched or not have the opportunity to play. When you play tight, you mess up. And so giving young players the opportunity to show up to the stadium, to the ballpark every single day, knowing what their role is, knowing exactly where they're going to be lined up, where they're going to be batting, all of those things, for me, take away some of the pressure, the anxiety of not knowing. And I think when you're talking about the development, it's just giving guys the opportunity consistently to do the thing that you hired them to do. Yeah. And that's the part that I would like to see more of.
Okay, so let's really break it down then, okay? So are you in the camp of a player should get at-bats and get time in the majors even if they're not quite ready, just to make sure, just to get them some at-bats?
No, if they're not ready, then they shouldn't be here. Right? It should be based on...
But, see, I think some fans get on the Cardinals because they don't give enough opportunity. They don't call this guy up. They don't call that guy up.
I think if the production in the minor leagues is at the level that you need it to be at, they're batting, they're hitting well, they're doing all of the things that they need to do...
That ain't happening.
I'll do it. They need to do all of the things that they're showing that this will be able to translate at the next level. And then you get the opportunity, and hopefully it does. But I don't have the mindset that if a guy is struggling in the minor leagues, you should just bring him up. Nah, you got to prove yourself. There should be a proof at every level that you can play at the next level. And then once you get to that level, you prove it again. So for me, that's what it has to be. And I think the Cardinals, I hope going forward, like these two young men, they're 21 years old.
What do you feel so far? About the way they've handled their development, because they've played the pitchers big time.
That I don't like. So for me, with the pitching
but what if
staff,
they're not ready?
Well, with the pitching staff, the thing that I feel is different is maybe you're not ready to be a starter. But I feel like as a younger pitcher, you can be in the bullpen.
Yeah, but they got to mess a guy up, though.
Nah.
Look what the hell they were doing with Zach Thompson for a while. He didn't know whether he was crapping or winding his watch.
What he was. And I think if you start a young player in the bullpen and kind of ease them into those high leverage moments, you don't bring them in when they're young and give them a chance to learn how to be a professional. Sit in the bullpen with some older veteran guys that have done this for a while. Sit in there, talk to starting pitchers, how they go about their day. You learn how to be a pro. That's one of the hardest parts.
That's what spring training's for.
Yeah, but if you're a younger pitcher with ability and you're not in the starting rotation and you're not projected to be there, why waste your time in the minor leagues when you can learn the ropes and then the following year be stretched out to become a starter with already a year under your belt of professional experience?
Okay. I don't hate the idea, but I'm trying to process it here, okay? So, and knowing what I know about pitching and learning all of it from mostly Brad Thompson and asking him a whole bunch of questions, the process for a starting pitcher is way different than the process for a bullpen guy. Starting pitcher has a routine every 5 days. They have a weight training, they have their stretching, they have their physical therapy. They have it set up. Whereas a bullpen guy,
it could be every day.
It could be every day,
or every other day,
or 3 days without any action.
Correct.
And so, the preparation from a physiological standpoint is different. And I just don't know if I want to screw up a young pitcher who may or may not. Like, we're not talking about an ace here. If he's an ace, then he's going to slot right into your rotation.
Correct.
If he's a guy that's going to be a 3, 4, or 5 in your rotation, probably more a 4 or 5. Like, do I want to screw him up by giving him all this bullpen? Then he gets used to bullpen. Then we got to stretch him out again. He's never really. Then he's still off balance because he still hasn't had a season.
I would have to talk to BT or a pitcher to see if that really. If a year's time of just gaining the experience, what the pros versus cons of that, because I feel like just the pro of being there and learning and being in those moments and then being thrusted into, as the season goes along, more high leverage moments and then learning to become a starter over the offseason or whenever that time is to be stretched out.
Yeah.
I think that because Jamie, just like I do, the mental part of anything is the most strenuous part. It's not the physical part. We can do our physical stuff all day long. Mentally, can you stand up in the middle of it and when all things are going crazy around you, still be able to perform? And I think the only way you learn that is probably not being thrusted into opening day starter when you've never played, but being in the bullpen and going through those moments.
So here's what I'll try to compare it to loosely. So me playing defense in the NHL. What you're suggesting is to bring a guy like me in, and I know it's different, the rules, the roster, but just hear me out. Bring a guy like me in my first year, all I do is kill penalties. I don't get to play defense on regular shift, I just get to kill penalties.
Right.
Because, it's basically a bullpen, break in case of emergency.
Right.
Okay, hey, we have a special situation here. Rivers, you're going to play this penalty kill. So I do that for a full season, and then next year at training camp, you want me to play 5-on-5, power play, and penalty kill. But all I did was kill penalties last year. So now I'm going to have to readjust again and get
acclimated into doing the whole
bullpen. It's the same position. You're throwing the ball, but the preparation is different from a mental standpoint and a physiological standpoint. So that's the one where I tend to err on the side of caution a little more. I'd rather have McGreevy pitch 160 innings in AAA ball than to pitch 47 in the bullpen.
Is that going to prepare him? I just don't know if that prepares you for that moment when
you're not
really
getting the same quality of batter,
there you go.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But you're getting more work.
More work, but not the same level of competition.
I know.
Yeah, we want to know your thoughts. Get your text into the text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho!
Oh, no. Goodness gracious. I can't believe you guys did that.
Oh, we did it every day.
I know you did.
Yo-ho.
Can't believe you did it here.
It's awesome,
in the
man.
fast lane.
You got a yo-ho.
No. Well, I did.
You did?
Yeah, a couple times this week. Anyways, we're going to talk about, we got hot take or hot garbage on 101 ESPN coming up next. Fast Lane here, 101 ESPN. It is time for Hot Take or Hot Garbage. Again, participation is strongly appreciated. And
Can they get their texts in?
Yeah, they can too. 314-399-9646. Or Snake Pit, if you guys actually want to participate here at some point.
We love the Snake Pit.
I love the Snake Pit, but they just talk to each other.
They do. They listen, but it's kind of cool.
I asked for Uncle Rivers, nothing. I asked for nothing.
Here's why it's cool, because they're just sitting there listening to us, and it's like, but they're conversing with their best friends on the internet and listening. It's cool. Like, we're part of.
But I want them to notice me,
Well,
Kerry.
they do notice you, Jerry. They tune in every day, sir.
I know. I love the Snake Pit. They got a lot of great things going on in there, so they can participate as well, and that is on the Air Alliance Heating and Cooling Team YouTube channel. Marshy, what do we got?
All right, hot take or hot garbage from the 812. The Blues losing one game, not a big deal. But the worst thing happening to the Blues is this break when they were hot.
Well,
I think that's hot garbage.
good.
Because you need you need a break, right?
Oh, I know I do. Oh, them. Okay, sir.
Not you specifically. You do. You're going to get yours next week.
Yeah.
But when you're playing in a season, we look forward to the bye week. You play all season to hopefully have a bye week at the end of the season where you can start the playoffs, where you're the number 1 seed, or when I was playing the number 2 seed. That break is critical to, just refresh your body, refresh your mind, get away from the game for a little bit, because just constantly going, flying city to city, it takes a toll on your body. So I think the ability to refresh and reset is what they needed at this moment. Obviously, you wish they would have finished it with a 6-game winning streak instead of 5-1, but it's definitely needed right now.
So I feel the same way, but here's why. You finished 5-1 in the last 6 games. Sure would have been nice to go 6-0, but it would have been better to go 5-1 or 6-0 with a fully healthy squad, which you don't have right now. So that's why I think the break is a great thing. When you come back from the break, you're getting Kasperi Kapanen back into your lineup. Now, he hasn't had the offensive numbers that you'd like, but he's fast. He works his tail off. He's a great penalty killer. He makes your team deeper. He makes your squad better. And so that's a great addition. Hopefully you have Justin Falk back. If that's the case, again, makes your team better. Scott Perunovich, if he gets back, now you've got your squad in place. So I think that the break comes at a really good time for the Blues to get healthy. It gives guys like Jordan Binnington a nice rest. Robert Thomas, he's going to the All-Star game, but that's only a couple days. He'll get a nice rest. Booch, he'll get a nice rest. Braden Shen will get a nice rest. So I think it's perfect timing for this break, and hopefully they take advantage of it.
By the way, Michael in the Snake Pit says, Rivers, we notice you and how you keep wearing smaller and smaller shirts after working out now. Ha ha.
They're not smaller. The muscles are bigger. I haven't changed the size. I haven't changed the size of my shirts in so long, Kerry. I appreciate you noticing, though.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
All right, we have another one from the Snake Pit. This is Bishin about sports. Hot take or hot garbage? CD and Rivers could still play in their respective sports today.
That's hot garbage for me.
Yeah. Like how long?
I might be able to give you a series. Like an 8-play series. Yeah. Maybe. That requires me, if I got to block ISO blocks on linebackers, pass pro a couple of times, you make me run out to the flats. Yeah. I don't know. I could do it. My body I wouldn't be here for at least 2 weeks, though.
Yeah. I think I could play a game.
You can play a whole game?
I could play a game.
How many minutes?
Yeah, that's the thing.
How many minutes are we talking? 12? 15?
12 to 15, I think. But I couldn't play the next day or the next week.
In the NHL or is it a Terry Ryan situation where you go and play in the East Coast?
I play NHL, yeah. For one game, without hurting the team. Would I add? I guarantee I would add a few things that they don't see these days.
I just said a series.
You'd probably be in the penalty box the whole time.
Well, if I get tired, it's a great place to rest. And this is not taking anything away from the players, but the one game you can muster up enough adrenaline to get through it. And then after that, though, you'd be finished. Like, my legs would be rubber for a week.
It's the doing it the next day is the problem.
Yeah.
Like
Getting up out of bed would be a big problem, too.
Man, I don't miss that. Like Monday morning, man. Like I'm not joking.
I don't know.
Like
I'd take it back.
I would do it again if I still could. If I physically was able to.
Yeah.
But now that I've been removed from it, that Monday morning was awful.
Yeah, you guys, that one game week had to be tough.
From the 636, hot take or hot garbage? Andy Reid will retire after winning this year's Super Bowl, and Bill Belichick will be hired.
Oh, I love the drama right there. That is awesome. Although I'd say that's hot garbage. I don't see Andy Reid retiring. Do you, CD?
I don't see him retiring. I think it would be really cool though if he. Andy Reid, no, I don't see him retiring. But it would make for an interesting story if he did retire, and then now Ben Johnson is hired for the Chiefs job. Maybe he got some insider. I don't know. I don't think he's going to retire though. But you know what? Hell, I didn't think Nick Saban was going to retire ever. So
that's true.
He proved me wrong.
Yeah,
didn't think so.
112 and still going.
He's still kicking.
From the
72.
From the 314. This one's from Justin. Major League Baseball needs to bring back 7-inning doubleheaders. Hot take or a hot garbage?
Okay, for me, that's a hot take. I really enjoyed those. The 7-inning games. Like, CD, like sitting there and you're watching pitch by pitch.
Yeah.
Like some of these games, like, they get a little long in the tooth sometimes.
You find yourself doing other things.
The doubleheaders, you could get 2 games in, total of 14 innings. So I'm like, yeah.
Do it.
I'm in.
Done.
Let's go.
I'm happy that they added the pitch clock. I think it sped up the game so much, not just in terms of minutes played, but the watching it made it. You couldn't turn away. Like, you had to literally sit there and watch, because if you tried to change the channel and came back, it was change of inning. It was the bottom of the inning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This one comes from Andy in the Snake Pit. Hot take or hot garbage? The 2004 St. Louis Cardinals were the best Cardinals team of this generation.
The what year?
2004.
Oh, yeah, to not win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a hell of a squad. I'll say hot take
I'm with you
on that one there. I mean, that's a team that's full of Hall of Fame / Cardinals Hall of Fame players. So, yeah, that's a hot take for me.
Do you think the Cardinals win the World Series that year if the Red Sox don't have that, miraculous run and come back against the Yankees? Like, if they take on the Yankees, do you think they beat the Yankees?
I think if
the Yankees didn't have Ortiz, right?
That's how it matters. He was on fire.
Well,
I think if the Red Sox don't have the miraculous comeback, like if they win the series, but they don't have to come back it was almost destiny for them. Like, no way they're going to lose after being down 3-0 and winning that series, and then now you make it to the World. It's not happening. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
From the 636, hot take or hot garbage? With Atlanta likely getting a third whack at the NHL, St. Louis will get a third whack with the NFL.
I was thinking about that yesterday. I'm going to say hot take. I'm going to take it. I like it because, damn it, we deserve it. Hey, Atlanta get 3 NHL organizations. What the hell are we doing? I did sound like a little hater.
What the hell did they do to you?
A little bit.
They provided a home for you.
They did. It was a little bit of a hating moment.
Yeah.
NFL, come on back, man. Figure it out.
Now we want a relocation or an expansion team?
I want an expansion team.
Yeah.
I don't want a relocation.
Anthony's always been on that hill of homegrown team.
Yeah, I don't want your crap that your program has been, your organization has dealt with for 50 years and never won a championship. You bring that bad mojo here. The hell out of here with that.
Yeah.
Give us something new.
From the 336, wow. Hot take or hot garbage? The new NHL skills competition with only 12 participants.
That's hot garbage. I saw today that Robert Thomas isn't doing anything.
Really?
Why the hell would you even have him there then? Like, that's what I don't understand. So maybe some of the events have guys doing things that are a little out of character. So what?
Right.
They're NHL All-Stars. Like, there are some years where they had certain guys doing the hardest shot. And the guy before the event's laughing, going, Hey, it's my first All-Star game. They told me I was doing hardest shot, so we'll give my best here. I mean, why would Robert Thomas not be doing accuracy shooting or something like that? Why is he an all-star? Oh, let's check it out. Okay, he's a tremendous passer, and he's got a very accurate shot. What events do we have for him?
You should do those.
Exactly.
You should partake in.
Let the players
enjoy
do events that they can excel.
Yeah, enjoy the moment, too.
Yeah.
I mean, no telling. It's hard to become an all-star. It's harder to stay and become an all-star multiple times.
Yeah, no kidding.
What is your favorite all-star event? Mine was when the goalies would shoot down the length of the ice and try and score. That or the goalie race.
Oh, my God.
That was always the hardest slap shot for me.
Yeah.
I remember Al McKinnis just ripping them. Yeah.
Hardest shot is always it always gets the most attention, as it should. I mean, it doesn't prove you're any good at hockey. It just proves that you can shoot the puck really hard, right?
Well, yeah, who was
for that?
Who was Martin Firk, right?
Yeah, shot like 108 miles an hour.
But he's not an NHL player.
No, he barely played in the NHL. So, but it's still, who cares, right? It doesn't matter.
Well, now I like how they used to do it, where you would just literally stand there and then shoot the puck. Now guys are skating into it.
They had a rule before, like when Al did it, it was you couldn't go out past the blue line. Mm-hmm. You could take like 2 hard strides and rip it. And now it's the point where guys are at center ice, come in at like, half speed, which obviously, I'm no physicist. But when you have a force that's coming at a certain speed and you have the acceleration of the stick coming down that much harder, it's going to generate more velocity. I just sounded smart, didn't I?
You did.
Damn.
Do you know the equation for that?
E equals MC squared. Yep.
I don't know if that's it.
I didn't go to Illinois, but they would have loved to have me. All right, it's the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. We're going to talk NFL next, and it's the Chiefs. Do the Chiefs have enough runway to repeat what the Patriots did 20 years ago? Probably not. They don't have Tom Brady. That's here on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues are on the All-Star break. Robert Thomas will represent the Blues at the All-Star game. They'll be back in action taking on the Buffalo Sabres February 10th, and we'll have all the action for you right here on 101 ESPN. We'll talk with Chris Kerber at 4:30, so stay tuned for that. We also have NBA action for you tonight as the Celtics take on the Lakers, pregame starting at 6. The Chiefs are taking on the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Do the Chiefs have enough runway to repeat what the Patriots did for 20 seasons? I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, the independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Do the Chiefs have enough runway to repeat what the Patriots did for 20 years? This is going to be an interesting discussion. Couple of reasons. One, the Patriots were dominant for 20 years. Mm-hmm. They really were. Mm-hmm. Love them or hate them. I don't even care what your opinion is that way. All I care about is the fact that acknowledging that they had team success. You can call them Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, cheater, whatever it is. For 20 years, they managed to either get away with it or they managed to be a good team. Now, here's my thoughts, CD. The only way they were able to do this is because Tom Brady put the team ahead of his own personal financial gain. Mm-hmm. I mean, it has to be, right? Yeah. Because every team that I watch now, as soon as the quarterback gets paid, like their big contract, the team is good, but they're not quite the same.
Yeah.
So, like, the key really is to capitalize on a quarterback's rookie contract or a quarterback that's willing to take less money in order to pay other people so that he could have a good team around him.
I agree. I mean, that's generally how it goes. You notice that teams, it's hard for them to keep players when the quarterback gets paid because he's taking up so much of the cap, and there's not enough money to go around for those star players at other positions. The Chiefs, for me, first of all, this is probably the worst version of the Chiefs that we've seen in this run of championship games that they've played in, and yet and still, 6th time in a row, making it to a championship game. And the 4th time they're going to play in the Super Bowl, which is absolutely amazing. Patrick Mahomes is in his 7th season because he started in 2017, but technically he didn't start until 2018, and they made it to the conference championship game that year. So essentially in every year that he started, every year that he has started, he has been in the conference championship game. So for me, when I'm looking at the comparison of what you see from Tom Brady and what you're comparing to Patrick Mahomes, he is definitely on track to reach or surpass the things that Tom Brady has done. Now, when Tom Brady was doing that, winning 6 championships with the Patriots, this will never be done again. This is we said the same thing with Joe Montana. It'll never be done again. Tom Brady was able to do it. I feel like Patrick Mahomes is on his way to doing that. Winning this one, obviously, he puts you halfway there to his Patriots run. And he got an extra one with the Buccaneers. But just watching him, Patrick Mahomes, I told you all when we came in here on Monday, I will never bet against the Chiefs again. As long as Patrick Mahomes is under center, I won't bet against him because somehow, some way, with the worst team that they've had in this run, found a way to go to Baltimore and beat the Baltimore Ravens at their home. And for me, it just was that solidified it for me.
Yeah. Okay, so here's where I'm going to go with it. One, I agree with you, which you probably thought,
I definitely didn't think that.
Okay. Based upon the information that we currently have, I agree 100% with you. Now, where it gets foggy or different for me is the longevity of success that the Patriots had.
Yeah.
So right now on like points percentage, based on the percentage they have right now, the Chiefs are right there with them. In fact, maybe even a higher points percentage because of how many conference championships they've been in last. But Tom Brady also only really got hurt once in that 20 years. So Patrick Mahomes, for the next 14 years, 13 years.
You got to stay healthy.
He got to stay healthy, and he's got to continue to do what he's been doing. Maybe not to this clip, but pretty close. That's tough.
It is.
That's tough.
The injury part, the health part is something you don't know.
And the team around him, because Travis Kelce's already talking about maybe retiring.
He's probably
with that team without Travis,
closer to it now.
That team, Kerry, without Travis Kelce. Think about that. Where would they be this year without Travis Kelce?
They wouldn't be where they are now.
That's right. So
they wouldn't
Patrick
be in
Mahomes, doesn't matter how good he is.
Yeah.
They'd still be a winning team, but they wouldn't be where they're at.
Correct.
And so the difference I have is Tom Brady actually went and won a Super Bowl with a bunch of spare parts one year. They had a hell of a defense, don't get me wrong, but he still went and won a Super Bowl with a bunch of guys who were like B-listers.
He had a lot of success, and his receiving core, I think, minus the Randy Moss years and then when Julian Edelman came and obviously Gronk, he had some years where you had some guys, you're like, who is he throwing the ball
Danny
to?
Amendola.
Yeah, he had some.
Nothing, but he became something because he became Brady's guy.
Yeah.
Wes Welker. Who
Welker
the hell is Wes Welker?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden he's a star, but then goes on to other places and it wasn't successful.
I think when you're looking at Patrick Mahomes, health, it feels like it's much easier to be healthy as a quarterback now than it has ever been because defenders can't really touch you. They can't come near you. They can't put their hands on you.
Those guys get hit every play, though, man. Even if it's just soft, they're on the ground.
But it's not. It's definitely not the same as really being hit.
Is Patrick Mahomes more at risk, though, because of the way he scrambles? Like Tom Brady, he sat in the pocket, and he took his lumps in the pocket. But like when Patrick Mahomes rolls out, and now he's throwing off the back leg, cross body, and that like he's susceptible to land the wrong way, like his ankle, his knee.
I think he's still more protected though, because like I said, the rules have changed in such a way where if you are a step away and he gets the ball up, you can't touch him, and if you do, you're going to be penalized. So
you can touch him, you can't wrap him.
You can't touch him, you can't wrap him, you can't take him to the ground and roll with him. You can't do much. So I feel like he's protected. So I don't think that injuries will be a concern for Patrick Mahomes, and I think he's going to continue to play at this level. Again, Rashee Rice in his first year, he's going to be a really good football player in the future. If you lose Travis Kelce over the next couple of years, or if he says after this Super Bowl run, I'm tired, I'm done, it's going to be hard to figure that out. But you got Patrick Mahomes. And to me, that is the great equalizer for all things that could go wrong.
But what if Patrick Mahomes, what if he doesn't have Andy Reid at some point? So, like, what if a year from now, not this year, let's say after next year, Andy Reid is like, man, I am fried. I'm done. So now you don't have Travis Kelce, possibly, and you don't have Andy Reid, possibly. Now what does it look like?
Well, we don't know. Because who is going to lead that organization in the way that Andy Reid is?
It's got to look a lot tougher, don't it?
Andy Reid has done a great job, and I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did in Philadelphia. They went to 4 NFC championship games and finally got to the Super Bowl, but lost. He did a great job there. So he's done a fantastic job his entire career. You don't find Hall of Fame coaches just waiting in line to become a head coach. So it will be harder if Andy Reid were to walk away. Tom Brady didn't have to deal with that. Bill Belichick was with him the entire time in New England.
He had some different OCs, though, in and out of his world.
The guy at the top was the same every single day. So that makes it a little bit easier because
it makes it a lot harder for the Chiefs than to have that 20-year success. Like 20 years, man. Think about that. Like, I know the Chiefs are having success right now. It's the last, 6-7 years that they've been a successful team.
Yep.
They need another 13 successful years.
And I don't disagree.
That's all, I look at it as daunting.
Andy Reid is 65 right now.
Yeah.
Does he have 13 more years in him? 10 more?
Like
he going to retire at 75?
Or on the earth? I didn't know what game we were playing.
As a head coach. I'm not trying to.
That's what I thought too. Well, either way, Kerry, it'll be interesting to see how Patrick Mahomes handles the turnover with teammates and also with coaches and see if they can continue to have that kind of success moving forward.
Indeed.
Kerry Davis, Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh. Again, we're continuing with our All-Star Week here as far as segments are concerned. Next segment up, the junk drawer here on 101 ESPN.
junk is out.
We continue All-Star show here today with our favorite segments here on 101 ESPN. We're going into the junk drawer. And all this is any kind of hot topic that we see out there, whether it's sports related or not. We throw it out there and we discuss it. So, Carey.
Yes, sir.
You said you had one ready to go here.
Yeah, I do. I don't know if we talked about this, but there's a young man, Patriots wide receiver, Keyshawn Boutte from the University, LSU, Louisiana State University.
Booty boy, that's what his buddies call him.
Boutte, yeah, he placed some bets in his final year of LSU. 8,927 bets to be exact.
$8,907?
$8,927 bets.
Hopefully on FanDuel.
Hopefully.
That's a 24-hour gig right there.
in a 13-month span from April 6, 2022 to May 7th of 2023.
Hopefully use promo code FAST.
Hopefully. Do you know May 7th of that year, he turned 21. He was underage betting as well, I believe. So,
not great.
Yeah, he turned 21 in May. He started in April of 22. He started in May of 22.
So what is currently happening with this player?
It's under investigation.
How did they not know while it was going on?
You know, when you sign up with FanDuel, I guess you got to use your email address. You put your name in.
You do?
He put his name and email address in there, and I think they found out that way. That's not great. Not a great way to go about your business. If you're trying to be discreet, you probably create a new email address or find a new name.
How about you just don't do it?
You probably shouldn't do it if you're still in college and it's against the rules.
Yeah.
8,900. How many days? Can you tell me how many days there are in? That's 365 days. So he was. How many bets was he?
Came to that one all by yourself.
I did.
Good job, Kerry.
That's that Illinois education.
Don't forget the leap year, though. But I guess there wasn't a leap year if he started in
22.
22.
Yeah, 365 days.
Ish.
8,900 bets.
So what is that per day?
Problematic.
Marshy. Mathematically, what is that?
So what
how many bets per day?
8,927 bets in a 365
divided by
day
365.
Span.
That is 24.457.
Oh, he had another job. That is another job.
How much money was he spending?
Because if you only bet $1, you at least spent almost $10,000, right?
Well, he's betting more than $1.
Yeah.
Come on, CD. My goodness. That is crazy. That's unbelievable. And now he's in hot water. Is he playing pro ball now?
Yeah, he's playing for the Patriots. You wouldn't know he didn't have many catches last year.
Patriots didn't have a lot of names to remember.
He only had 2 catches last year in 5 games. 7 targets.
Pretty big catches, though.
Should we do the math on that?
He was exhausted.
He was too tired from playing. His fingers were hurting from placing all those bets. 24 bets a day?
That's unbelievable.
That's a problem.
Hey, one per hour.
Gambler.
Please.
1 per hour, baby.
That is unbelievable. Marshy, what do you got?
Yeah, something more on a positive note. Well, I guess maybe it's not that positive, but it's a feel-good story. This is from Andrew Springs on Twitter/X. Tweeted out, this is a little story. A woman on his Southwest flight from Baltimore to Phoenix this morning had a mid-flight medical emergency. The doctor and nurse attending to her could not find a strong pulse. Her blood pressure was extremely low and required oxygen to breathe. It was genuinely scary. A man in the aisle seat popped up and, quote, "Could it be her blood sugar? I have a diabetic testing kit." That man was Mark Andrews, tight end for the Baltimore Ravens. He instructed the medical professionals on using his test kit. Eventually, her heart rate stabilized.
Yeah, so he is a diabetic, a type 1 diabetic. My 15-year-old daughter is a type 1 diabetic. And we were talking about this the other day. The blood sugar, if it's high, it can change somebody's, I would say, their personality, the way they act. It literally changes their behavior. Correct. And if it's low, it can really mess up their behavior. And I told you, I said, not only does it mess with the way they behave, they can get irritable, but they can also slip into what they call a diabetic coma. And that sounds like what happened here for this lady was she started to slide into that diabetic coma. They're trying to find a pulse, thinking she's dying and things like that, which she really kind of was.
Right.
So it's kind of awesome that he happened to be on the plane, recognizing a situation and then offering the blood.
That's awesome.
The blood glucose level test.
Isn't it wild, though, how things in life just pan out? Like, imagine if he
is on a different flight.
Well, imagine if they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's not on that flight. Yeah.
That's true.
And this lady might not have lived.
Yeah.
It's weird how things work like that in life.
It is weird. All right, I got one that's a little different. It's not necessarily an article. For me, it's just a personal, I don't know. I wanted to bounce this off of you guys. The discussion of tipping for service. Okay? First and foremost, let the record state I'm an over tipper.
Okay.
I am. Anybody who has ever had me at their restaurant, at their bar, I over tip because I respect the industry tremendously. But there's a couple of situations here that have happened recently that I was like, On the road, we're traveling and go to a takeout place. I'm not going to say names and things like that because it's not a shot at them. The person rings up my food and then turns the iPad around. And it's 15, 20, 25% or custom.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything. They punched in my order. In fact, at this place, I punched in my own order. And then when I went up to the thing to close it out, because you got to go up to the register to close it out, she flips the pad around.
And they want a tip.
And now, again, I'm an over tipper, right? But I'm like looking at it going, I don't know if I feel comfortable. Like, what did you actually do? You turned the iPad around. I'm sure that was ruling.
Yeah, custom 000.
But I feel like that's been a real.
Well, here's. I feel like this started when
I
COVID
don't feel
hit.
bad about it. They didn't do anything.
Yeah, I feel like this started when COVID hit. When
I know
certain restaurants were down and not being able to get as much, as many patrons as they were accustomed to. So they added that element.
Yeah,
and they just kept it there.
But that's the problem. They didn't alter it back, right?
Yeah,
So let's move the ball along here. I was just in Seattle. And I think it's a Seattle mandate. Every single thing you order automatically comes with 20% gratuity added on the bill. Now, they're supposed to tell you in advance. And then you should see the sales pitches you get there. We're sitting at like the restaurant and the waiter comes back and says, hey, 20%'s already added in there, but that goes to the restaurant and they spread it out, So if you want to add a little bit more on there for me, you can. Which, hey, if that's the way it works out, fine. I tipped on top of that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's fine. But then anywhere I went was automatic 20% gratuity. I don't think that's okay because what if you're not okay with the service?
Then you should not feel
But
obligated.
it's already added in your bill.
Yeah, that's why they've done it.
I know, but don't you feel like it's your personal choice? Like if I want to tip 40%,
you should be able to do that.
I want to do that.
Yep.
If I want to tip 10% because I was like less than thrilled with the service, then so be it. If I don't like the food, but my waiter or my waitress was awesome, I'm going to talk to the manager and say, hey, man, like your cook or whoever does the food is not up to par, man.
Right.
Like, how do you percentage the tips? Because
I always do the 15 to 20%, regardless of, unless, like you said, I don't know that I've ever been somewhere and just been so bothered by the service that I didn't leave a tip. I may have.
Right there with you.
I don't know that I have, but I definitely have felt like it. And, but I still feel like, okay, it's kind of just what goes with it. You're gonna tip them because that's what's.
I know, but is that
supposed to be
okay?
done. I don't think so.
Like,
because if you're a terrible person, because if you're a terrible person, you shouldn't be rewarded for that.
Like it used to be way back in the day. The whole tipping thing started because you were happy and the person went above and beyond.
Now it's expected.
Now it's just like expected. And now in Seattle, like they're not even telling you it's expected. They literally put it on your bill, 20% gratuity. And it's not a party of 4, party of 5. It's party of 1.
20%.
And here's your 20. Pay me. I spit in your food.
Not party of 5 or more.
Yeah.
I get it though. Like the people in the restaurant industry, I don't think their pay is all that much to begin with.
No,
like,
you're right.
They're not getting paid as much as they should.
Right.
So those tips definitely help. But like you guys said, if you're not doing a good job, that is up to the person. Sometimes I like when the tip is included because it makes me not have to do any math. And
for
whip
sure.
out my phone and, do the
whip out
times
your phone,
0.2.
So, as I thought, we'd get some feedback on this, right? Because it is a hot topic. And we get a text from the 636 says, Jamie, I do Grubhub on the side, and the way people tip is terrible. Okay. So fair enough, right? So this is what I wanted to open up the discussion here of like what's acceptable, because now we have somebody who's doing Grubhub, obviously looking to make a little bit more money. And the tipping apparently is not up to standard.
So that is like a service, like that person, a Pizza Hut or a pizza delivery person, like they are driving, they're using their gas, like you should tip them. I think of like a place that makes sandwiches, right? Right in front of you. Like that's a part of the job description.
Kind of what you
yeah.
And they still at times want to tip.
Yeah, so
I don't feel obligated. I don't feel obligated. I don't feel obligated.
At least the person's making my sandwich, they're doing something.
But that's their job,
fast
though.
food restaurants, I don't feel obligated to tip.
Yes, fast food.
Fast food, I don't like. If I go to McDonald's and get
how long till McDonald's flips the iPad around?
I think they already
hit
have.
the zero.
I think some of them, I don't feel obligated to tip certain fast food restaurants.
Yeah,
because again, in 1998 when I was going to get a McFlurry, I didn't have to have a tip for it. I just, it's part of
your 98 cents ready.
Yes. They had to pay $1 extra or $2 extra for it. I don't feel like that's required. But restaurants, yes, tip well. If someone is bringing food to your home, a nice tip should go along with that. But like you said, when they flip the iPad around and they want 20% on a bill where it's like, what is this for?
One of the places I went to, I got my own coffee, too.
Yeah.
They handed me an empty cup.
They do it
and I walked over and got my own coffee, and they wanted a tip for it.
They do it at stadiums as well. Like, when you go to the concession stands, there's a tip. Where was I at recently? I was somewhere, and there was a tip button on it. I'm like, nah.
I do that at stadiums. I'll tip at stadiums. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm terrible.
I think there's certain jobs where I know that like their actual wage is not the amount that it should add up to.
The actual wage. So this is the pinch right here, is because my son works in a restaurant. My other son worked in a restaurant for a bit. My oldest daughter did some time did some time. No, she worked. not yet. But she worked as a server at a sandwich place. And the hourly wages are not up to par. So I think that if the hourly wages got put to a level where it's acceptable, I think the tipping aggressiveness might go down a little bit. But either way, it's always an interesting topic. I just threw it out there because I've been in so many different cities and watching so many different ways that people approach it. But again, for the record, I tip all the time, and I'm usually an over tipper. Anybody who's had me as a guest at their restaurant, I can tell you that they would agree with that.
Jamie's always given a tip.
Always. Hey, sometimes it's the best one, okay? All right.
You never know who needs it.
Some people always need it. The Gauntlet up next. We need a new contestant. 314-399-9646. Text in the word Gauntlet. That's coming up next.
4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
The Gauntlet is powered by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit mastor.com.
It's 4:04 here in the Fast Lane. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an official provider of Rolex jewelry. It's time for the Gauntlet, and we have another Steve today. Not the same Steve I'm being told. So, Steve, how we doing today?
Not bad. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, buddy. I'm pretty good. It's have you been in the Gauntlet before?
No, I listen all the time, but I've never been in it.
All right. Well, this should be fun then. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. You're going to pick your opponent right now. It's either Marshy, Carey, or myself.
Oh. I'm going to go with Carey.
Carey Davis, yes.
I was going to go with the guy I had the doubt today.
Oh, Anthony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hope you ask a lot of questions about that AFC powerhouse.
All right, sorry, Steve, you broke up there a little bit.
All right, let me get you off.
We appreciate it.
Okay, hold on.
Carey's made his way into the cone of silence. All right, Steve, I need you to tell Marshy to spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel, Mark.
All right, Steve, what's your favorite topic? What do you want to see here, buddy?
All right, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's your favorite topic? What do you want to see here?
Hold on a second. My phone's messing up.
Steve, you're killing me. Steve, are you still there?
It says he's still on the line,
Okay.
but I am not too sure if we still have Steve.
All right. Why don't we do this? Marshy, why don't you hang up on Steve and call him right back?
All right.
Because he's obviously got some troubles going on here, and we've had this happen a couple of times here recently. So Marshy's going to hang up on you, Steve. Sorry about that, but he's going to call you right back. Okay, for those of you listening who are not called Steve, we got random as the category. So we're going to get our guy back on the line here. Marshy's doing a good job, and it always helps, too, when they turn the radio down in the background. There's no bouncing back of the noise. All right, so Steve is back on the line. Marshy's doing a good job here. Looks like we got him. Steve, do we have you, buddy? Steve, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, Steve, have you got us, buddy?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, you're killing me, man. We've waited like 4 minutes waiting on you here. Are you good to go?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, you got random as a category.
That sounds good.
All right, so first question. Let's see here. All right, name the tallest roller coaster at any Disney theme park.
Oh, I'm going to have to get the options.
All right, is it the Tower of Terror, Sleeping Beauty, Expedition Everest?
I'm going to go with Expedition Everest, final answer.
Okay.
Question number 2. What was the title of Lady Gaga's first single?
Hold on here. Poker Face, final answer.
Okay. Steve, do you have your radio on in the background?
No, I shut the radio off, but I got my. Well, I'm trying to put it on. Hold on.
No, you're good. Leave it on. At least we got you. Don't mess with anything. We got you here. You ready for question 3?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Who was the first lady to appear on Sesame Street?
I need the options.
Was it Barbara Bush, Michelle Obama, or Hillary Clinton?
Some tells me Michelle Obama, final answer.
Question number 4. Happy birthday to Ronda Rousey. In 2016, which female UFC fighter defeated Rousey by TKO?
I'm gonna need the options. I know this one, but I can't even think of it.
Chris Cyborg. What a name. Amanda Nunez or Kat Zingano.
What was that last one?
Kat Zingano.
No, it was Nunez, I believe. Final answer.
All right, we're going to get Kerry in here. See what he's doing. He may have fallen asleep in the cone of silence. Kerry's a little tuckered out earlier today. Poor guy.
Sorry.
No, that's all right, Steve. It's all right, buddy. We just didn't want you to mess up on your turn here. Kerry, welcome back, buddy.
Hello, hello.
How's the cone of silence today?
It was toasty in there.
Yeah?
This icebox. It's freezing in here, Jamie.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Freezing in here.
All right, Kerry, your category, random.
Oh, I hate it.
And you better pack a lunch.
All righty.
Okay, question number 1. Name the tallest roller coaster at any Disney theme park.
Oh, man. Give me the options.
Is it Tower of Terror, Sleeping Beauty, Expedition Everest?
The only one that I think I've heard of is the Tower of Terror. I don't even think the other two are real rides. Go Tower of Terror. Final answer.
Question number 2. What was the title of Lady Gaga's first single?
Yeah, because I definitely listened to her.
this one.
Okay, what is it? Give me the options.
You almost got me there.
I almost said something too.
What
All
are the
right,
options?
those options are Million Reasons, Just Dance, or Stupid Love.
Oh, my God. Million Reasons, Just Dance, or Stupid Love? This is her first album or her second?
First single.
First single.
Oh, first single. Let's go Stupid Love. I don't feel like that's right.
Final answer?
Final answer. You know.
All right, question 3. Who was the first lady to, who was the first lady to appear on Sesame Street?
Oh. Was it one of the Bushes? Bush. Oh, what's her name? I was going to say George Bush, but that's the president. Barbara Bush. Final answer.
Question number 4. Happy birthday to Ronda Rousey. In 2016, which female UFC fighter defeated Rousey by TKO?
Oh, give me the options.
Options are Chris Cyborg, Amanda Nunez, or Kat Zingano.
Was it Cyborg or Nunez? I was okay with Cyborg. Let's go Nunez. Final answer.
Okay, let's go over these. Let's start with question number 2. What was the title of Lady Gaga's first single? Steve, you said Poker Face. Poker Face. Remember that one?
I do remember that one. That was
Kerry, you said Stupid Love. Well, you got part of that right. The answer is
Just Dance.
Just Dance.
God,
It'll be
Come on.
okay.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so 0-0 after 1. Let's go to question number 1. Name the tallest roller coaster at any Disney theme park. Steve, you took the option. You said Expedition Everest. Kerry, you didn't take the options, nor did you take a roller coaster.
I took the options.
You took Tower of Terror. You took the options, but you didn't even name a roller coaster. You took Tower of Terror. I think we know where this one's going. Answer is
Expedition Everest.
yeah. Tower of Terror is that
It's
they
the
just
thing they
drop
drop.
you. Yeah, it's not a roller coaster.
Hell, I don't ride roller coasters.
All right, we're 1-0,
riding
Steve.
life.
Here, let's go to question 4. Happy birthday to Ronda Rousey. In 2016, which female UFC fighter defeated Rousey by TKO? Steve, you took the options. Said Amanda Nunez. Carey, you also took the option, said Amanda Nunez. Answer is
It is Amanda Nunez.
Amanda Nunez. So 2-1, Steve, heading into the final question here. This one's a big one. Who was the first lady to appear on Sesame Street? Steve, you took the options, said Michelle Obama.
Oh.
Carey, without the options, you said Barbara Bush. If Steve is right, he wins. Carey, if you're right, you win. Steve.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today.
It was Barbara Bush. Carey at the deadline wins on that one. Steve, sorry about your luck, buddy.
All right. Good job, Carey.
Thank you, sir. You too.
All right, Steve. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you playing, man. Have a great day.
All right, thanks.
All right, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Nice job, Carey. Nice
Yeah,
grab
Sesame
at the
Street.
end there.
No,
Sesame
that.
Street.
No, right.
Who's your favorite Sesame Street character?
It's got to be Big Bird, right? Oh, the Count. Actually, Oscar is kind of.
You like the Big Bird?
Yeah, Big Bird.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Right? Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
So friendly.
Oscar the
So
Grouch.
he's got them googly eyes.
I love him.
I like Snuffy. Like the old
Snuffleupagus?
Snuffleupagus. I like to see him. I don't want anybody else to see him. You know? That's what I like about that. All right, that was the Gauntlet. Coming up next here in the Fast Lane, what's trending on 101 ESPN? Jamie Rivers back with you here, joined by my good buddy Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, I heard that the Federal Reserve met yesterday. What happened with that?
Jamie, what happens is they didn't give us any great news. We were looking for a rate cut this March. Didn't happen. They kind of put cold water over the whole thing and said, hey, economy's doing pretty good. I know labor is getting worse, but we're not necessarily going to cut rates as quick as March. Hopefully in the future, but not right now. Now, that didn't affect long-term mortgage rates. Long-term mortgage rates actually dropped down a little bit. This is very important because if you bought a house or refinanced in the last 12 months, you should go ahead and refinance with the bagel loan. No closing costs right now. Later on, the Federal Reserve comes back. If the economy is doing better, employment picks up, inflation's going back up, they're going to reverse things and interest rates can pop back up. This way, you take a bird, you know the old saying, get a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. Get a refinance now. If it goes down later, you'll do it again.
That's great advice from our guy, Stewie. He's always got the inside scoop on what's going on. He tries to get ahead of the game because he wants to help you. And the only way he can help you is if you give him a call or shoot him a text. That's to his personal cell phone number. The number's 314-324-4440. Again, 314-324-4440. Or you can always Google the Bagel Loan. Stewie, thanks so much, brother.
Good night.
NMLS number 226715.
101 ESPN has your chance to score free tickets to see Blink 182. Mobile app.
It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Kerry Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, tonight we have the Celtics taking on the Lakers. Who knows if the big stars will play in tonight's game? We just never know these days in the NBA. The NBA announced today that they have fined the Philadelphia 76ers $75,000. They were fined after Joel Embiid went from not being on the injury report to out with left knee soreness for a nationally televised game Saturday afternoon in Denver against the Nuggets. Guys, someone may have been feeding me bad information, but I'm not sure if Joel Embiid has ever played in Denver.
Really?
I'll have to double check
Maybe
that.
he's wanted.
What are you gonna say?
I'm just kidding. I did see something, though. I was watching a replay this morning, and he landed awkwardly, and you could see he kind of limped around for a little bit. So the fact that I'm not saying there's no foul play in this to where they're not doing the load management thing with him, but I don't know. The broadcast I saw this morning on ESPN seemed to find where he potentially could have tweaked his knee.
So he has not played in Denver since 2019. He's only played there twice.
But how many times have the Sixers played there? Like, have they played there? They're not in the same conference, right?
No, they play there. They will play there once a year.
Once a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Still a long time, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that was intriguing because that was a matchup last Saturday that I think a lot of people were looking forward to. It was the day before the championship games, and so a lot of people were excited to see the matchup of Joker versus Embiid, and then Joel just didn't play for whatever reason. No one said anything.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I don't fully understand basketball's load management.
You understand it.
Disclosing.
They're soft.
Yeah.
You can say it. I'll say it. Basketball players are soft. They are. They are.
Listen, Kerry. They got a guy with a blister. He doesn't play.
Yeah, they're soft.
Well, let's say with baseball, too.
Yeah,
they got it.
That's the same for baseball with pitchers.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
A little
It'd be
bit.
like a basketball player having 2 broken fingers and having to shoot baskets. I think I'll give him a pass, although I have seen guys
I've
tape
seen
their
Kobe
fingers
do it.
together and play basketball.
Those guys they're a little bit softer than all the other athletes.
Oh, well, at least, hey, look,
Athletic.
the league is stepping in, and they're finding him, so why not?
Well, no, and I think the load management thing, they have to play at least 65 games in order to win an award. So a lot of guys are being, I guess, more cautious with their load management this year. Load management.
Be very cautious with that.
Yes.
So, guys, on NFL.com, you can vote for the Rookie of the Year. There are 6 players on here that highlight the rookie class of 2023 of Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane, Puka Nacua, Sam Laporta, shout out St. Louis. And he's from Highland, right?
Illinois.
Whatever. Same thing.
We claim
Local
him.
guy.
We'll
claim him.
We should.
Yeah, we claim everyone from the 618. So
When you say St. Louis, Illinois.
whatever.
Be okay.
CJ Stroud, who in your opinion, out of these 6 guys should be considered Rookie of the Year?
For me, it's an easy one. First of all, those are all really good players who had really good seasons. It's got to be C.J. Stroud. It's got to be. He took a team that was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
They weren't even supposed to be winning games.
No.
And he's a guy that people passed on because they didn't think he was the guy.
Yeah.
And all he did was take that team to a playoff. C.J. Stroud has to be the guy.
For the longest, I felt that way. Puka Nacua had.
What is Puka Nacua without Matthew Stafford?
I hear you.
C.J. Stroud is the guy.
He is.
He is the guy.
He is. I wouldn't be bothered if either one of those guys won.
I'm not bothered.
I think C.J. Stroud. I felt all season long like it was C.J. Stroud. C.J. missed a few games. I think 1 or 2 games for sure. Puka Nacua just did some things that haven't been done, and he was spectacular.
He was great, but I'll always go back to my argument or my side of the discussion is who had the bigger responsibility.
Yeah.
Being the quarterback and not just knowing the playbook, but calling audibles at the line of scrimmage and finding guys through coverage and checking down and finding receivers that are open, dissecting the defensive alignment before the snap, after the snap. It's a way different gig than running your route.
I agree.
Now, catching the ball, it's all great.
I know, we're not disagreeing.
So
he did. They both did a fantastic job.
They did.
They did. Yeah, but one of those two should win.
Guys, in the Gauntlet, we were talking about roller coasters, and of course, we established that the Tower of Terror is not a roller coaster, but the Snake Pit, they keep talking about Cedar Point being one of the best amusement parks in the country. Have you guys ever been to Cedar Point?
Where the hell is Cedar
that Ohio?
Point?
It's in Ohio.
I've heard of it.
I have not. I just heard about it now.
I'm not a big roller coaster fan.
Really?
Life is hard enough, man. I don't need to get on a roller coaster.
You're already experiencing life's ups and downs?
Yeah. You know one thing about, I don't know if you felt this. When I get on a roller coaster, because of my shoulder, like, it does not feel secure. Ever. And so when I look at other people's, theirs is locked in. Mine's got a little more wiggle room.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't know why doesn't mine click in and cinch in? Like, when I look at everybody else, theirs is locked right here. Mine's got a little more. No, I'm okay.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
I'm okay.
I don't mind feeling like I might not make it off that roller coaster.
I could find other ways to...
Certainly, and I've tried. So the roller coaster doesn't bother me too much. Kind of like it.
Growing up, I would go to Six Flags all the time, and I mean, every single time I went on one of those roller coasters, I had a Carey situation where, like, either I'm not strapped in right, like I'm looking over and one of the wooden roller coasters looks like the termites have been feasting on it for 20 years.
It's rattling around.
Jump on the track.
There's a certain point on the boss that you hit this corner and it kind of like just grabs at you, and in that moment you're like, we could be going off the track, and then it just grabs you to the left. You're like, whoo, all right, we're good.
Around a little bit,
and then you go down. You're like, this thing might come off the track, and you do that for about two minutes, however long it is, and then you get back, and you're like, man, that was great. Let me go again.
I've done roller coasters. It's not my cup of tea. It's not what I would choose to do with my day. Let's go to Six Flags. Yeah, okay, cool. You guys.
I just hate the lines.
That too.
So the key
to be tortured. I guess it's not torture for you. You enjoy the thrill.
I don't mind the thrill at all. Yeah, you're right. The key is you got to have a buddy that goes with crutches.
Oh,
you go with the crutches.
Yeah, how you do it?
You get to the front of the line, and they get to have a partner ride with them. I'm just telling you. I'm not saying I did it. Okay, but if you have crutches, and you roll up, they let you go cut the line.
That's a lot cheaper than the Fast Pass. Yeah.
You are welcome, 101 listeners.
Man, we got a lot of people with broken limbs at this park now.
Big number of crutches today at Six Flags in Eureka.
The old JD Rivers special.
All right, that was what's trending here in the fast lane. We got Chris Kerber coming up next. We're going to ask him about the Blues. Maybe we'll ask him about some of his evaluations here of the Blues at the All-Star break. All of that coming up next here on 101 ESPN.
No contract, no enrollment fee. The time to join Club Fitness is now. Sign up with our Platinum membership by February 12th. No contract, no enrollment fee, just results. Join now at clubfitness.us or stop by any of our 19 locations.
Hey, folks, Chris Kerber here, and look, I don't know how often you use Google reviews, right? But reviews tell you a lot. And when you are looking for somebody to come into your house, do some work at your house, like Classic Air, to have them come in and fix your furnace or maybe just tune it up, what are you looking for? You're looking for good reviews. How about a 4.8 on Google reviews? That means that many people have been happy with the work that they're getting, because not only are they taking the time to go on there, they're taking the time to go on and tell you that the company was great. It doesn't lie. That's what the people do, and it's what the people tell you. So when that many people are telling you that this company is great, that's all you need to know. It's Classic Air Care. What you do is you go on to classicaircare.com. If your furnace goes kaput, if the heat goes out during the winter, if you want to get things checked up, if you are in that unfortunate situation of knowing that you've got to buy a new furnace, well, guess what? You know that you're going to be taken care of well. You know that they're going to treat you right, and they're going to treat you like neighbors, because the people coming in to fix it, they are your neighbors. They work and live right in the St. Louis area with you. It's Classic Air Care. Go to classicaircare.com.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are off until February 10th. They'll take on the Buffalo Sabres, but for now, they're enjoying the All-Star break. We'll talk with Chris Kerber coming up next, voice of the Blues right here on the Blues Radio Network. We'll dive into the state of the Blues heading into the All-Star break and what we've seen these past stretch of games. Also tonight, we have Celtics-Lakers, some NBA action for you right here on 101 ESPN with the pregame starting at 6. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this SportsCenter update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Time for Curbside with the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
It's a fast lane here on 101 ESPN. We head out to the celebrity line to be joined by the voice of the Blues, our very own Chris Kerber, who's in Louisville. Kerbs, how are things going down there? Have we taken a look at any bourbons?
Jamie, I think you'd be happy with this one. So I just met with some folks over at Old Forester, grabbed some bitters I hadn't tried before, like a smoked cinnamon bitter, so I'm going to work on that. But then walk down the street, and I know you're a fan of Michter's. They actually, and sometimes you go into the distilleries and they've got something they're selling just for that day and they sell out pretty quick. They still had a couple bottles of a 10-year Michter's that they were selling today. So I'm a happy camper right now.
Yeah, we were down there. Ashley and I were down there with her son for a lacrosse tournament not too long ago, and I stumbled upon the Michter's Day, and they had a special giveaway, but they were also doing a bottle your own that day, which was pretty cool. You get to pour your own bottle of bourbon, and you can put your own seal on it and stuff. It's pretty cool. Have you ever done that, Curbs?
I have not done that one. I have not done that. Now, I did, as you know, a couple of single barrel picks with Randall's. So, Old Forester, and we did one with Buffalo Trace as well. They send up some samples. You pick one of the samples you like, and so with Randall's, we've done some pretty good picks, but haven't done the bottle my own yet.
Well, there you go. Now you got something to look forward to. Now, Curbs, are you down there in Louisville specifically to do the Bourbon Trail, or are you down there on other business?
No. My daughter's a freshman at University of Louisville, so took advantage of. We've got. This is a great dad all-star break here. I came down, able to visit Gracie for a couple days, so seeing Gracie here, and then going to MC a gala for Rossman School, where my wife's a teacher. We got that at City Park on Saturday night, and then next week. Gabby and I are going to jump in the car and go do a college tour at UMKC. So got taking full advantage of the team being off.
Yeah, Curbs, you got some time because of the All-Star break. If you were to give this Blues team a grade for the first half, what would you say it is?
I'd say a C plus.
Okay. Can they go ahead?
I'd give certain players like a Robert Thomas, a Jake Neighbors, a Colton Parayko, a Jordan Bennington, and a Joel Hofer. I'd give all those guys anywhere in the high B's to an A minus or an A, to be honest with you. But I think as a whole, from a team standpoint, I think about a C plus is fair for the moment.
So, Kerbs, when you look back at this part of the season so far, is this kind of where you expected them to be, or are they better or maybe underachieving, in your opinion?
It's a great question and way of looking at it, isn't it, Jamie? Like, I actually think they're right where they're supposed to be, and that's satisfying. At the same time, it's frustrating. And the reason I say I think they're right where they're supposed to be is if you go back to what Doug Armstrong said last year going into the trade deadline, how he handled the trade deadline, what he said at the end of the year, and then what he said at the beginning of this season. I think you realistically just have to remember what the director of this team and how he's described it. You're in a retool. You're not in a full rebuild. You've got too much talent for that. You're in a retool. He clearly stated he doesn't see that this team is in the top third. But he also said, I don't see them in the bottom third. And yet at times this year they have spent time in that bottom third. He goes, I see them in the middle third going in, and realistically, his goal would be that they'd be in the top of that middle third, which has you pushing for a playoff spot or getting in. And look where they're at. They are just in. They've been pushing for a playoff spot. They were in a spot until the middle of December, then fell out, then climbed their way back in. So I think when you look at what Doug Armstrong had from his expectations, I think you got to sit there and say they're about where you'd expect them to be. The frustrating part is you know that they would be higher up had they taken care of business against some much lesser teams, but they didn't do it, and maybe that's part of the inconsistency that the general manager was expecting.
Curbs, this time last year, we knew that there would be some players that would be departing via trade come the trade deadline. Do you see anything shaking up this trade deadline, whether they're trying to add some pieces or move some pieces?
Man, so that's where Doug Armstrong can be cold-blooded, and we've seen it. And by saying that, I mean actually that's a good thing if you're Blues fans. I don't know if it's a great thing if you're a player, but it's a good thing if you're Blues fans. You remember, they were a point out of a playoff spot when he traded Paul Stastny, right? They were on the outside looking in. They still had a chance, and he traded Paul Stastny. They ended up missing the playoffs by 1 year, but they won the Cup the next year. I look right now, and you look at who your UFAs are that somebody could have interest in, and that's obviously Oscar Sundqvist being one, Kasperi Kapanen. I don't know about Jacob Verana being down in the minors, but also, look at Marco Scandella. If you're Doug Armstrong, you've got 14 games before the trade deadline. There were 25 scouts in the building in that last game. I could see especially a Kapanen, a Sundqvist, and a Scandella helping another team out that's maybe ahead of where the Blues are and can go somewhere. Then you got to look at, okay, who's unrestricted after the next year or two? Is there an actual hockey trade, not a rental, to be made? And there's a couple guys that could fit that category. So the challenge for the team from a hockey operation standpoint, and Kerry, I don't know how this works. I mean, from Jamie, he may being in the room more as a player, he'd have a different perspective. Like, you're realistically looking at it. If you get in, you've got the goaltending to make some noise. But is there a deal that actually makes you better for 2 or 3 years down the road when you were talking about being in a retool? And does that weigh heavier than maybe a playoff push? I don't know where that sits. And that's how That's the tarot card reading that the general manager has to do right now.
So, Curbs, I'm looking at it too, and it's obviously a tough spot for Army to be in right now. But I'm looking at it from a team standpoint of the guys you just mentioned. You know, would the juice be worth the squeeze? And what I mean by that is, would the return be as valuable as what those players are currently as far as getting into the first round? Because if you trade a Sundqvist or you trade a Scandella and you get a 5th round pick or a 4th round pick, will that player end up really moving the needle for you with this retool in a couple of years? I'm not sure. So do you think it's a situation where Army just stands pat?
Well, and there's another thing too. First, Jamie, I agree completely with you. And some general managers, if you read some different articles from people that are talking about, it could be a bit of a quiet one because honestly, right now, go to capfriendly.com and look at how tight a lot of teams are up against the cap. 2/3 of the league are within $1 million or $2 million, right? Which means for a lot of teams, it's going to have to be dollars in, dollars out. Or you're going to have some of those bottom-dwelling teams. You're going to have more of those 3-team type deals, kind of like the Blues had with Ryan O'Reilly last year where Minnesota was involved to take some of the salary, right? That's what's going to happen if you're going to move it. But you look down the road here, I don't know that Marco Scandella figures into the long-term future of the Blues, right? And I think Matt Kessel's coming up is doing something there. They've got to free up something from the way the defense has gone. They've got to free up some dollars on the defensive side of things, and we saw Doug try to do that last summer. So all that plays into this, Jamie. And to me, a great example is the juice worth the squeeze. The Blues traded Ivan Barbashev for Zach Dean. That was clearly a move for the future. But make no mistake about it, you're a better hockey team with Ivan Barbashev, even if you had a 5x5 deal like Vegas gave him now, than you are waiting a couple years for Zach Dean to get here, right? So, to me, that's a great question. I don't know. Is a 2nd-round pick or a 3rd-round pick for Oscar Sundqvist? Let's say that's an option. Is that a 2nd or 3rd-round pick isn't impacting your team for 5 years, right? Unless you get really, really, really lucky, and that doesn't happen. You're not banking on luck. So as somebody that wants to be here, somebody that loves wearing a blue note, he told us that in a recent post-game interview. You know, is that character in the room, is that work ethic on the ice better for you for young kids coming in than a 2nd-round pick? I personally believe it is, but I don't know how the team views it based on offers and where they're looking at everything down the road. But is the juice worth the squeeze is a great way to phrase how you might anticipate what goes on at the trade deadline, because look, this team is showing that with 33 games to go in the Western Conference, they can be right at the cusp of a playoff spot. It doesn't take much once you're at the cusp of a playoff spot to potentially go on a run, and I think you got to think about that too.
Great stuff, Curbs. We really appreciate you taking the time while you're down in Louisville visiting your daughter. Hopefully you have a great break visiting both daughters, having a great time, and we'll catch up to you next week sometime.
All right, you guys have an awesome weekend. Enjoy the break, and good luck finding sports topics this week.
Thanks, Curbs. Appreciate it, buddy. Have a good one.
See ya. Bye.
All right, that was Voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber here on 101 ESPN. Some good stuff there from Curbs. He
gets it.
Oh, he gets it. He knows. He knows what's up. All right, coming up next, we got the Sports Six-Pack. So text in 314-399-9646 or jump on our YouTube channel, brought to you by the Air Alliance team, heating and cooling. The Snake Pit is active. Get in there with a question. DJ Marshy Marsh will find the right questions. We'll have the Sports Six-Pack here on 101 ESPN.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Time for the Sports Six-Pack here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Marshy, hit it.
Question number 1.
All right, this one comes from the Snake Pit. Day Drinking Brian. This AM on the Riz Show, they referenced the Chiefs staying 30 minutes from Vegas to keep distractions low. CD, what was the restrictions you had the week leading up to your Super Bowl?
I feel like, so we got there a week ahead of time, and I think the first 3 days, so what, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we didn't have a curfew. You just take care of your business. You go to parties, go hang out, do whatever you need to do, practice, and then go take it. It was like a normal work week. And then as we got closer to game day, Thursday, curfew, Friday, meetings and the curfews. We still had all our meetings and things like that. But our first few nights there, we didn't have a curfew at what time we needed to be in. But we all knew we were there for a business trip. It wasn't we weren't down there hanging out in old Ybor City. I love Ybor City.
A couple times, yeah. So, look, got to know a couple of NFL guys in the years of professional sports and life. Some of these guys say that the team the team that they were on, literally like allotted like the one night. Basically go out, get it out of your system, and then like dial in.
Yeah, I think
while they're in the Super Bowl city, which is where some guys have gotten themselves in some hot water.
If you just know what you're there for. Like you're not there. Trust me. Listen to me, man. You know that you win a Super Bowl. There is more than enough time to party, and I can attest to that. Yeah. We had a great time after we won. A great time. In multiple cities. We traveled. We were like a traveling circus. We
fold up, go to the next city.
We were having a great time. Don't sacrifice that moment, what you want to do right now, for what you want the most. So
yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, we enjoyed ourselves, but we were dialed in, man. We practiced, and then we, hung out a little bit at night. Guys were all over the place. I had lived in Tampa for a little bit, so I had some places to visit, and had a good time.
Question number 2.
From the 314, what was your dream job growing up? So what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a hockey player, man. Like from the moment I was 4 years old, I wanted to play for the Montreal Canadiens. I eventually did, so that was kind of cool too. But the NHL, that's all I wanted. I lived, breathed, ate, slept hockey. That's it. Cold outside, so cold you can't feel your face. We're playing anyways. And when my parents make me come in, my brother and I are playing hockey down the hallway. I'm not kidding you. My mom, my dad, my mom, you can ask her. She repair the walls once a year because we're smashing into the walls and sticks and ball and like all that stuff.
Everything.
Outdoor rink, hockey. That's all we did, man. I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't want to be a fireman. Didn't want to be a policeman. I didn't want to, do construction. I didn't want to drive a dump truck. Like all the other things that little kids want to do, I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to be scoring goals at the Montreal Forum.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to be on the dump truck. I just thought it was cool that people hung out on the outside of the truck. Like, and rode down the street. Like when, in
like
the 80s.
Garbage guy.
Yeah. Oh,
used to be cool too.
Oh, man, hanging on the back of a truck and driving? Sign me up.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. Then I thought I was going to be a basketball player. Like, I loved basketball more than football. Then I had this issue where I just didn't.
What issue would that be, Kerry?
It didn't stretch out.
Really?
Did not.
Maybe you're about to hit your growth spurt.
I'm still waiting. Pretty much every man on my father's side is like 6'1", 6'2", and up. I got a nephew that's 6'7". He's a junior in high school that is an elite basketball player.
Good for him.
He's going to be really good. But I just didn't get the 5'10". They stopped.
You pivoted.
Just run through people.
There you go.
Go over them, run through them.
No joke. I wanted to be a Zamboni driver, a professional Zamboni driver growing up. I don't know why.
The Zamboni.
Great song. I used to have those little toys where it was a Zamboni and it would have all the the NHL logos on the Zamboni with the little driver, and you get them in the package. I was like, man, these things are unreal. Could you imagine driving on the ice for a living? Just being a professional Zamboni driver. I have never even driven a Zamboni in my life. Still haven't.
They're fun.
But the dream is still alive, isn't it?
I love it.
Question number 3.
From the 314, how are fines handled on the professional level? Carey or Jamie, have you ever been fined? If so, how much was it, and was it worth it based on the amount it cost you?
Well, I had a couple of different fines in my career. Couple of like, third fight and the thing, you get $250, like a stoppage of play. Like they were trying to cut down on like the 5-on-5 brawls. Mm-hmm. And I remember that in the minors, the very first time in like a 5-on-5 brawl, like my second game there. And I got pegged for $50 for being the third fight. And I was like, okay, fine, $50, Then, trying to think a couple other ones. Well, yeah, I hit the mascot in Hershey. I got fined $500 for that. Oh. Yeah, there was a bear that used to skate around. I was tired of the bear, so I hit him. He caused a brawl, Carey. Yeah, I'll tell you the whole story one day. But I said to my teammates, I said, if the bear stops and shakes his butt at us,
you're going to hit him.
I'm going to hit him. I'm going to run him over. The bear stopped. I don't know if he shook his butt or not. I took a couple of hard strides and blew him off his feet. Head went rolling into the corner. No. It was terrible. Actually, it really was terrible.
His kid screaming and yelling.
In the moment, I was like, I was actually very shameful in the moment. And then their players like skate over like wanted to brawl. So we had a big freaking brawl on the ice. Goodness. So I got fined $500 for that by the American Hockey League. And then I got fined $500 for shooting a puck at a referee one time.
Really?
Yeah, Joel Quenneville. The referee missed a call, and Quenneville was losing it. And he says, the next blanker, who gets the puck, shoot it at the referee's. I want to shoot at his head. And then he comes down and he goes, Rivers, go. So I'm thinking, okay. And no kidding, Pierre Turgeon is my center. And nobody ever wins a face-off perfect. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. This was snap. Flat, tape to tape to me. Denny LaRue is standing right down there forgetting. I'm like, well, Denny, here we go.
Sorry about it.
Boom. I shot one. Now, I didn't shoot to hit him. I did shoot to miss him, but he kept skating in that same direction.
Oh, you did hit him.
I didn't hit him, but it was a foot. And it was smash off the glass, went down. And Denny LaRue, right away, got up, gave me a penalty and misconduct and all this stuff right before the end of the period. And then Joel Quenneville comes in between the periods. He's like, all right. He grabbed me first. He goes, okay, well, I shouldn't have said that.
You think?
I was like, well, you told me. He goes, I wasn't really talking to you. I go, but then you put me on. What are you doing?
Jamie, you could have had your own Edmundo Sosa moment.
Pretty much. And then he comes into the team after because he realizes now, I could be suspended for a lot of games. Yeah. And they're going to figure out somewhere the trickle down. I'm not going to rat on my coach. I'll take the blame, but then someone's got to pay my fines because I wasn't making enough money to be suspended for 10 games.
Yeah.
And so Q comes out and says, I told the league it was a set play. So he's like, here's what we have to do. We got to win the face-off to start the third period and do the same thing and have the winger go down to retrieve the puck. And we did win it. Hammered a slap shot down. We had the winger go, and all I got was a fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you got any fines.
I got fined. I got fined here, actually. $5,000.
Wow.
For socks.
Huh? Yeah. Wrong length, wrong color?
I had too much white showing. We were playing the Rams here, and so what happens is the guy will tell you at halftime, he'll tell one of the guys on the sideline, hey, such and such uniform violation, knee pads not covering, socks, wrong color, need to have two colors showing. And so I was actually getting an IV at the time because I was cramping up really bad. So they never caught me. Nobody ever told me anything. I go back out in the second half, and it was actually Willard Harrell. That guy, love Willard. He's the one who fined me. Got me $5,000 fine. They rescinded
$5,000?
$5,000 for
your socks?
Yes.
What?
$5,000.
Wow. All right.
I was very frustrated. But
I bet.
Mr. Rooney, they were able to get it rescinded. They told him he was getting an IV. Nobody told him. He never knew. So I did get it rescinded. Good. So I didn't have to pay it. But when I got that FedEx, On Monday?
Yeah. They just took it right out of my checks, by the way. Every time I was fined. They don't like, hey, you got to pay. They just take it right out.
Yeah, I was able to get it back.
Yeah. All right, that was the sports 3-pack, 4-pack?
4?
I don't know. We got a buzz. Okay, coming up next here, we're going to hit our rush hour reset. A 101 ESPN. For a rush hour reset here in the fast lane. All original programming here at 101 ESPN. Our reset today is going to be going back to the Blues and their season thus far leading up to the All-Star break. Earlier in the show, top of the show, rather, we talked about the Robert Thomas line and the Braden Shen line. If you missed any of that, you can always go back, download the podcast, 101ESPN.com or the mobile app. All of that brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto. So let's head down now to the third line. And when we jump to the third line, Kevin Hayes at center. The version right now is Toropchenko and Walker on the wings. Mm-hmm. So let's start with Toropchenko.
Okay.
He's sitting here right now this season with 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points in 49 games. Carey, when you watch the Blues, what's your thoughts on Alexei Toropchenko right now and what you think he might become?
I think I want more. And I say that because he was the one that was calling people out last year. He was the one that was willing to say, this is not good enough what we're doing. And so if you're a young player and willing to stand in front of it and say those types of things, there was a level of frustration for him. I think if you're going to do that, you got to do more. And maybe it's too much asking from a guy on the third line, but I think I expected him to be where Jake Neighbors is right now. Man, maybe I'm wrong in that, but I think I expected that from him, and I just want more from him.
Okay, so I can see why you would want that, but for me, I think he's checking all the boxes right now. So he did call out guys last year.
Yeah.
Said we played like a beer league team or whatever it was, right? Watch this guy. You do. Every shift, the motor's going.
Yeah.
He's 100 miles an hour. He's in on the forecheck. He's hitting. He's getting to the net. He kills penalties. He blocked a shot with his face earlier this year.
See, I'm thinking offense. Like, I'm thinking more. So that's problematic.
It's not in his toolbox.
Yeah, so that's what when I want more, it's probably on the offense. Like, I know he's going to do all of those things, but because this team needs more of that, and we're trying to figure out where more of it is going to come from, I think that's what I'm asking for from him. But if that's not his game, then,
I think at best he's a 10 to 15 goal scorer.
Okay.
In the NHL, like that, at best. Sits at 7. So could he bring a little more offense?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
But I like what he brings. I think that this team needs a guy like him. So for me, I've been just fine with Alexei Toropchenko. Let's go to the other wing next with Nathan Walker. Nathan Walker comes in here. He's got 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points. But he's only played 13 games. And in fairness to Nathan Walker, he didn't start the year with the team. They were trying out some other players. They had 8 defensemen on the roster. They had to make sure that they had roster spots available for a bunch of people. I like Nathan Walker.
I do too. And so I'll give you a little nugget, Jamie.
Wow.
In every locker room that I went into, I was probably one of the smaller guys, 5'10", because you're in the locker room with guys that are 6'4", 6'5", 6', I have an affinity for guys that can make it and not be of huge stature, like how they stay. He's tough, he's hard-nosed, he's going to work, he's going to do all of it, and he doesn't mind fighting you. Like, he's not limited, even though he might not be as big as some of the other guys are. And I like that about him. I like the grittiness, the toughness about him. And that's one thing that when I watch him play, I like that.
Yeah, I agree. He doesn't take a game off, doesn't take a shift off. And he's not a bigger guy, but he finishes all his hits. He blocks shots out there all the darn time. And he's not afraid to throw the mitts down and chuck the knuckles with somebody if he has to. I think Nathan Walker, for me, is exactly what I thought he would be. And he's exactly what this team expected. Like, you're not looking for more. He's providing third, fourth line type play for you. And for me, that's good enough. All right, next guy in the middle, Kevin Hayes. The big offseason acquisition. He's a $7 million player. Philadelphia Flyers are eating half of that salary. The Blues are paying half of that salary as well. And currently, as it sits right now, Kevin Hayes has 10 goals, 11 assists for 21 points in 49 games. Carey, what have you thought so far of Kevin Hayes?
I think I expected more from Kevin Hayes as well. I thought he was going to... I didn't think he was going to be a third-line center. Maybe I was wrong in that. I thought that he would be more active, more involved. And I think at times he goes missing as well. There was a stretch there where I just didn't see him as much as I would have liked to. I think he's done a solid job, but I think when you're talking about, even though the Blues are only paying half, but he's still a $7 million player, I think you still, in my opinion, you still want a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that if you ask Kevin Hayes face-to-face about if he's happy with the overall production, he'd probably say no. He'd probably say that I would like to contribute more.
Right.
And time will tell. We'll see what Kevin Hayes is able to do. The pace of play is probably not where it would need to be, but he is very strong on the puck. He does protect the puck very well.
He does real well in face-offs as well.
Great at face-offs.
He's the best one on the team.
He is the best right now. He does a lot of things well. He's really great in the locker room. Like, this team needs a guy like that. He's a good leader. He's got good intentions. He shows up to the rink with the right mindset.
Right.
But, just like everything else, you need more from a guy like that. So Kevin Hayes probably looking to contribute a little more here in the last part of the season. And that brings us to our fourth line, our final three guys here. This one's going to be a little tough because he just got here. Well, he's been here, but he's only recently started to really play. That's Alexandrov, 17 games, 1 assist. Carey?
Just not enough. Probably not enough seen just yet. But I do like the entire fourth line, the third and fourth line, but the fourth line, the grit that they have, I enjoyed that. Like, if I can see a difference and see guys actually getting after people, I like old school. Like, I like when people got hit and ran into the boards. I know they limited. They just like they do in football. They don't want people to smash each other. But I kind of like it. I like when guys let you know, hey, we're going to be a little bit more physical with you, and we're going to give you a little bit of the business down here, so you know that we're here and we're present.
Yeah. So I'd like to see more of that from Alexandrov.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't see enough of it. For me, he's too much of a passenger at times, where he's kind of like tiptoeing through the tulips is what I used to call it. Not good enough. If the tulips are still in good shape after you run through them, means you're not running hard enough.
Oh, gotcha.
And so, for me, I'd like to see more from Nikita Alexandrov. But the next two guys, and we'll jump over to Sammy Blais, offensively, not the season that Sammy Blais wanted. He came over in the trade last year, and he lit it up here, had a great offensive output. And I think that he thought that was going to happen again this year, and it hasn't. He's only got 7 points, 1 goal in 39 games. But, Carey, he does bring that physicality.
Yeah.
I mean, he's borderline sometimes dirty with how late he hits guys and things like that. But he does bring that nastiness, and it is your fourth line. Yeah. What do you think?
I agree. Like I said, that line, Alexandrov excluded, I guess, but those other two, Sonny and Blais, they do add that physicality. And sometimes you have to have that from that fourth line, right? That's the identity line. That's the line that doesn't mind getting there and getting physical. I think they do a good job. Sonny, for me, really, is kind of like the ringleader of the line, in my opinion. He's the one that I enjoy watching him do all of that also.
Yeah, so I would agree with that. And Oscar Sundqvist, our last guy here, I call him the junkyard dog.
Yes.
Say it all the time on the air. He blocks shots. He makes hits. He takes hits. He takes faceoffs. He's in front of the net on the power play. There's nothing more that Oscar Sundqvist can offer me that he doesn't already do. So I'm satisfied with Oscar Sundqvist. And I guess the last guy, too, is Kasperi Kapanen. We talked about him a little bit earlier. 13 points in 42 games. He'd like to have more offense to his game for sure. But, again, he's a good leader. He's a good guy. He's got great speed. He plays good defense.
I know he's out now, but was he injured prior to? Because he doesn't look when he jumped on the scene last year, he looked like he was flying.
Yeah, no, he was flying.
He doesn't look as fast as he was last year. Maybe it just was something, we hadn't seen for.
As far as I know, I think he was healthy.
Okay.
But he does, without him in the lineup, you can tell the team speed has dropped a little bit. So hopefully he comes back healthy, which all signs are pointing to that. Okay, what we're going to have next year is we asked you for mic drops earlier in the show, and basically it was just your assessment of the Blues. What do you think right now of this team at the All-Star break? Have they met expectations? Have they underwhelmed you? Anything you want to add in there, leave us a mic drop on the 101 ESPN mobile app, or you can also leave a voicemail on the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. We're going to be taking those and reacting to those, and also use the text line and the 101 ESPN Snake Pit chat room. Anything you put in there, we're going to try and get to everything as much as we can here when we come back on 101 ESPN. The Fast Lane here, 101 ESPN 519. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, official provider of Rolex jewelry. All right, we asked for your mic drops. Your personal assessment of the Blues or anything that you have taken away from the first half or up until now, up until the All-Star break about your Blues. And we've got some mic drops. We're going to start off with KC. KC, what do you think?
Hey, fellas, this is KC. I enjoy the show always while I'm Ubering, but don't follow hockey that much other than when the Blues made that run for the Stanley Cup. I've got involved in it a little bit more and try to learn some of the different rules and things. But compared to that team and the teams that I've helped seen win the Stanley Cup, I think there's a lot of inconsistency with the Blues. I don't expect for them to do anything because it's okay to play to lose games against some of the difficult teams. But the teams that you know you can beat or you know you should beat, when you lose against those teams, that's why I see that there's a lot of work to be done yet. So if they finish and make the playoffs, that'd be great. But I don't really expect too much out of this team. Go Blues.
All right, that was KC. Thank you for your mic drop. And
That's fair.
I think a lot of people probably agree with what KC just said.
That's fair. You can't, when you're trying to make a push for the playoffs, you cannot lose to teams you're supposed to beat. Like you just can't afford it because it's already hard enough to play and win against the really good teams. But the teams you're supposed to beat, like the Columbus Blue Jackets, that's a game that, you know, one or two games here and there you can look back at the end of the season like, if we would have took care of that business, our record would be different. Maybe we're sitting in a different place, and instead of looking at the playoffs this offseason, we would have been in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you got to look back on the season. If you don't make the playoffs, what are the games you lost?
Yeah.
Right now you got 2 losses against Columbus. You got 1 against Chicago. You got 1 against San Jose. Those are games you should have won all 4 of those games.
Yes.
So, all right, more mic drops. This one from the Snake Pit. Droid, what's up?
Yo, what's good, y'all? Droid from the Snake Pit. I think the Blues have been okay. I mean, there's some positives, I guess. They're sitting in a playoff spot right now, right? So there's that. I mean, I didn't think this team would even make the playoffs. When Doug Armstrong said 3rd place in the division, I thought that was a stretch. But, I mean, they're kind of in that area right now, and it's kind of surprising. I'm from last year being absolutely terrible, top 10 draft pick, to, I mean, being a kind of a playoff team around the area of one. I mean, I think it's fair to say they're playing to expectations, and I'm kind of happy with it. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind if we just tanked and sucked and got top draft picks. So, however you want your hockey, I guess. I'm not a fan of being middling, but if we're going to be in the playoffs, hey, let's win a round. Let's upset a top-seeded team. Let's do this.
All right, Droid, appreciate that very much. Appreciate your participation. The old Snake Pit making their presence felt here. I think the Blues have gone too far at this point to pull the old tanking out. Right now, they're 16th in the NHL out of 32 teams.
Yes, middling is exactly where they are.
They're middling, yeah, but they got 54 points.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks have 30.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to.
Like, you would have to start trading off pieces for nothing and really tanking.
And then what does that do for the future?
Then you're done.
Yeah.
Then your retool's screwed up, and you're looking at 7 years of a rebuild.
Yeah.
So I understand the concept of that.
You might as well make a push for the playoffs.
Might as well at this point. 100%. All right, we got Wes here. Leave us a mic drop. Wes, what do you feel?
Oh, the Blues. Can't say I have the blues about the Blues, but I'm here watching. But, you know, occasionally I find myself lowering the volume and reading a book. I'm reading books instead. I mean, come on. Yeah, that's not a good sign, is it?
It's certainly not appreciated that you're lowering the volume, Wes. Whether you're watching it on TV or if you're listening on
what I was going to say. If it's on radio, then you're just essentially turning it off.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But I think I understand what Wes is saying. He's kind of indifferent right now because this team doesn't get the juices flowing. But I would argue that recently in the last 10 games, this team has given you a reason to watch the games. They have. 5-game win streak is nothing to turn your nose up at.
It's not. It would have been great if it was 6.
Of course.
I'm greedy. I think most Blues fans are just like, nah.
Like, if you have something else going on.
There you go.
Because you do not know what version of this team is going to show up. Are you going to spend your time 2 to 3 hours watching solid hockey in a good product, or are you going to spend 2 to 3 hours essentially wasting your time watching what we saw the other night?
See, Marshall, we have to explain this to Jamie, right? Because Jamie is contractually obligated, and not that he wouldn't do it because he loves the St. Louis Blues, but he's there every single day. Every game, you're there. You're watching. It could be 6-0, Blues up or Blues down. You're engaged completely because that's your job. But us casual, more mortal fans, if we have something other to do, then we may do that. And I think that's the sentiment you're getting from the fan bases. They want action. They want this Blues team to be in every game, similar to what they were during this 6-game streak, and win more than they lose, what they did this 6-game streak. But when it's not,
start reading books.
You start reading books.
That's excessive. I can think of
this team has this guy doing something that he's never done before.
I can think of some
Star Trek
other things I'd rather be doing than reading books. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's an avid book reader.
Maybe.
I mean, reading books have its, it's got perks.
There you go.
Depends what book.
Depends on what book it is.
That's right, Andrew. Good call.
Absolutely.
Good call.
Maybe, magazine. I was a fan of magazines growing up.
Still make
those were great back in the day.
They were.
I used to love finding those.
Especially the special editions.
It's hard to find.
Up at Grandpa's house in the top shelf.
I found one at a barbershop one day and was just reading it out in open. And they were like, oh, what are you doing? Why is it here? It's reading material. I'm reading.
My dad took me and my brother to a barbershop, and he was getting his hair cut. And we're both sitting there. We looked down. We're like, open this up. We're like, oh, my.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my. I was like, this book has great interviews. All right.
It does.
We got one more mic drop here. Let's hear from Joshua.
Hey, guys. I really wish I didn't feel the way that I do about the Blues season so far. I know we've had some great wins this year. I know we've had some success recently, but I think it's just something about this team makes it really hard for me to get excited. I don't know if it's just the glaring weaknesses or the roster or the inconsistency. I don't know what it is, but it's just hard for me to imagine us having any success in the postseason if we do make it. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I really wish the Blues were better than they are, but like I said, it's just kind of hard for me to get excited about being a mediocre team barely making the playoffs. I don't know.
All right. Thank you, Josh, for the mic drop there. I get it, man. If you're a Blues fan, you're finding it hard to be motivated that the Blues are going to make a cup run. And I totally understand this, by the way. And this is what happens, Kerry, as you know, when you win a championship.
Yeah.
Is that people,
expectations.
That adrenaline rush, that buzz of having a team that's winning every night, that's winning playoff games, that's celebrating with a championship parade, you want it back.
Yeah.
You want it back. You want to feel that intensity in the games every single time now. But had the team not won a cup and the team was going through a bit of a retool like they are, and they're still sitting right now in a playoff spot, I think at some point, at some level, you have to still be happy that your team has an opportunity to make the playoffs. Now, I understand we want to win every single time, and trust me, I've never played a game I didn't want to win. But you also have a goaltender. Mm-hmm. And my point about this is that if the Blues are lucky enough / good enough to get in to the playoffs, just get in by 1 point, just limp in if you can. You can't tell me that Jordan Binnington doesn't give you an opportunity to win the first round. You can't tell me he doesn't. And if that's the case, now you went from a team where you're like, well, we're middling, to where you won a damn playoff round. And things are a little different then. So I understand the fans upset about the inconsistencies. I get it, because I see it too. I see it on a daily basis, and I've seen it now for a season and a half. since last year started. But at some point...
I like what you're saying, Jamie.
Attaboy, Marshy.
Putting on the glasses.
But at some point, every team has a rebuild / a retool.
Yeah, they do.
And if you want to just tank and you want to suck for 8 years, 7, 8 years, then fine. But then you won't have these playoff games. You won't have meaningful games. You'll be reading lots of books at that point.
Plenty of time. I think it's important to just remember, Army said at the beginning of the year where he expected them to be. We had Tom Stillman on when I was on the morning on the opening drive, and he said the same thing. It's the expectation of this season. But we're greedy, and I think we're greedy in the sense that when you see the ability to do it, why don't you do it every single day? But that's essentially what a middling team is. They can't do it every single day.
Bingo. Otherwise, they'd be first place.
It's a playoff team. One round, baby. That's all we need.
Your rose-colored glasses,
Just
Marshall.
get in, baby. Just get in.
Well, thank you again to everybody for your mic drops. We'll see what the Blues have in store when they come back from their extended All-Star break.
I don't know what got into me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You should probably know that. Coming up next, the biggest question of the day here in the Fast Lane at 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. We talked earlier today with Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, right here on the Blues Radio Network, talking about your Blues heading into the All-Star break. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The Blues will be back in action, taking on the Buffalo Sabres February 10th, and we'll have all the action for you right here on 101 ESPN. Tonight, we have the NBA as the Boston Celtics take on the Los Angeles Lakers. Pre-game for that starts right after the show at 6 o'clock, so tune in to that. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
All right, time for biggest question of the day here. The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. And I feel like this is going to be a question slash statement slash evaluation.
Yeah.
What do we got, guys? Because you guys have been giggling about this all afternoon.
Would you like me to read this, or do you have it pulled up?
I don't have it pulled up anymore.
Okay.
But
I think it would be better impact if Marshy reads it.
I think Marshy reading it.
People on the YouTube channel, please tune in. If you're not, get on YouTube for Carey's expressions, please.
All right, here we go. We'll give them some time.
All right.
Give them like a minute or something. No, we'll get right into it. Okay, here we go. From the 618, this is actually now DoorDash Steve. So DoorDash Steve is the name now in the Air Comfort Service text line. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really care for you on the morning. This is talking to Carey, by the way. I didn't really care for you on the morning show, and I thought you sucked at radio. Turns out, it just wasn't a good fit. You fit in way better on this show. You don't suck at radio.
It is like the greatest example of a crap sandwich one could ever make. Like, I thought when I read it at first, I was like, is that a compliment or a criticism?
It's a crap sandwich.
It's a crap sandwich.
It's crap in the middle of the best bread you can buy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Turns out you don't suck at radio.
Yeah.
What?
Carey just sucks at mornings.
He's not a morning person.
Yeah, clearly. Thank you. I think DoorDash Steve.
So
appreciate it.
Let's take that, what we just saw, what I just read, and let's turn that into a sports question.
Sure.
Do we see that in today's sports where players will suck at whatever sport they're in, and then they go to a new place and they have a different type of career? What are some examples?
Oh, yeah.
That you think of?
All right, so I mean, let's keep it local here. To keep it interesting, let's keep it local. Two guys that come to mind immediately are Kurt Warner and Jordan Binnington. So Kurt Warner, it's a famous story. Stocking shelves or whatever he's doing. He's playing arena football. And then all of a sudden, pretty much out of nowhere, he's handed the ball after, Trent Green blows out his knee that year, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes on to win a Super Bowl.
And a Hall of Fame career.
A Hall of Fame career. Yeah. Same haircut as his wife. I mean, it's really good. 2 for 1.
Why she disappeared?
You can't say I'm wrong. She walked in and said, give me that one.
Oh, man.
Okay. But Kurt Warner, one of the guys you can circle. You can also circle Jordan Binnington on that one because of, a draft pick by the Blues. Now, Jordan Binnington maybe not quite as surprising because he was on the radar for the Blues, but he did, at one point, the Blues did loan him to another team so he could play for another team's farm team in the American Hockey League.
I think it was the Bruins.
It was.
Which was ironic.
It was totally ironic. He went and played for the Providence Bruins. while the Blues had nowhere for him to play, basically. And so then he comes back and proves to the world that he can play goalie in the NHL. And he, not single-handedly, but boy, did he have a lot to do with that Stanley Cup championship.
Well, you picked two St. Louis sports that two St. Louis teams, and I'm going to pick the third one, the Cardinals. You have Randy Arozarena, who clearly didn't fit in here for whatever reason, and went on to greener pastures.
Well, they didn't even give him a chance.
He didn't fit in, Marsh.
Yeah,
he didn't fit in.
Yeah, he had too much personality.
Those 20 games was enough.
Too many followers on Facebook Live.
What are you doing?
He did get a lot of followers.
Yeah. That one's got to go. Facebook's got to go for Randy Arozarena.
That guy out of here. I do think that sometimes when you are, I mean, let's go back to the Cardinals. Look at Jordan Montgomery, his first year here, when he was with the New York Yankees. It was okay, but he was pitching pitches that he wasn't even pitching his best pitch there. And so when he got here, he had more success in that run when they went to the playoffs and didn't have success there. But he had success in his second half of the season when he got here. It's just sometimes a change of scenery allows you to be the best version of yourself. And, sometimes the way the coaches teach a certain thing. Every coach is not equal. There are some really good coaches in professional sports, and then there are some guys that I've sat in rooms with, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, sir? That makes no sense. You're going to get someone harmed in the process. So, being in the right place at the right time definitely allows you to have greater success.
Two things. One, Baker Mayfield's probably a recent example of that in the NFL.
Yeah.
With Cleveland and his other stops, and then now in Tampa Bay. Two, how do those type of coaches even get hired?
Well, they got friends. They know people that know people sometimes.
And sometimes, let's just be honest here, sometimes these coaches, they have really good X's and O's strategies, but their people skills and their talent evaluation sucks.
Like Urban Meyer.
I don't know. I never played for Urban Meyer, but he was not a very good dude, certainly. But I played for some coaches that were tactically sound, like they knew the game inside and out, lived and breathed it. You're like, oh my God, I'm talking to an encyclopedia that has no idea how to deal with the team. Has no idea how to get the best out of player X, Y, or Z. Doesn't recognize the talent of player W. You know what I'm saying? They just don't get it.
And then some people interview really well. That's a key component.
We call them salesmen.
They know how to interview really well, and then they get the job. But like you said, they are unable to relate with people, and that's really the main part of the job. The X's and O's are cool, but if you can't relate to people and really have an understanding of how to converse and deal with adverse situations, you're probably going to fail.
So I think in today's world of professional sports, I don't believe the head coach has to be the smartest guy in the room anymore.
No.
And hear me out. And I think you agree, but if you look at Dan Campbell's probably not the smartest guy in the room when it comes to football, but he's a great CEO for that team. You look at Craig Berube, now very intelligent hockey guy. Was he the smartest X's and O's coaches in the NHL that year? That probably not.
Right.
But what he was a motivator. He extracted the most out of his players. Both of those guys got their teams to believe in each other. And if you look at even Bill Belichick, even though he was a great defensive mind, he wasn't great offensive mind. So it's not like he was the smartest guy in the room all the time, but he figured out a way to create this Patriot way, and he got Tom Brady to buy in with him. And so the best coaches, to me, in professional sports, get the buy-in from the players.
Yes.
And then the message from all of the coaching staff has to be the same on how they're going to play.
Agreed. Yeah.
So would you say they're good teachers, but not good leaders?
No, they're good leaders.
Good leaders, good teachers, good psychologists.
I'm talking about the ones that are not. The X's and O guys.
Sometimes they're not even good teachers, though.
Correct.
Because they're unable to, if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, then you can't explain it at all. And that should be your basis of how you go about teaching someone a specific offensive philosophy or a defensive philosophy, how you want to play this particular coverage, or what I want to accomplish with this route combination. If you're unable to explain it, well, just do it. Well, that doesn't make sense, Coach. Why? Just because that's how it's supposed to be done. That doesn't work for grown people, like grown professional adults. They're not going to just do it because you said so. You have to be able to teach it and explain it. And a lot of those guys, not a lot, but some of those guys are unable to do that.
Did you guys have teammates that could not pick things up from like a
what?
Like the board, right? Right. We got the little board out.
What?
You have to show them how to do it.
Sometimes I had to show them how to open a door.
You gotta tell them, hey, you got that guy. Who? Him.
Okay.
He's looking at me. Yeah, you still got him.
And then they do it, but they do it really good.
Sometimes. Sometimes not.
Some of those guys are just so athletically gifted that they get all the way to the pro level, and then they get weeded out because you're like, okay, that guy is about as smart as that door handle.
Bruce Arians used to say, if you can't count to 3, you probably can't play in the NFL because sometimes you have to go on 3 as the snap count. And you would see guys jump all the time.
1, 2, 3, like,
say, hut. No, it's on 3. Oh, this time it's on 3? Yeah, we said that in the huddle. I think we were circled up. That's what that meant.
When they're calling plays, Marshy.
I'm actually impressed. Like, there's no way I could play football because there's no chance that I could remember any of the plays.
Marshy, it's so complex. And it is, sometimes there are 3 plays in one. Like, you can get 2 plays and alert to this play.
I won't even know how to do that.
This play,
you can tell me anything. I wouldn't know if it's a play or if it's just like made up.
It gets very wordy. The verbiage can be very difficult. But fortunately, if you play defense, they just have a one-sheeter. They just find ball, get ball. This is the playbook.
That's perfect. That sounds like a job for me.
Find ball,
I'll
get
take
ball.
it.
Yeah.
I play linebacker. Just want to hit everything.
That's all they do. Man, we take shots at those guys.
All right, that was our biggest question of the day. It was Carey's crap sandwich here on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Happy Super Bowl, everybody. It's going to be an awesome time, and no better way to celebrate the Super Bowl than jumping on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And look, everybody has something they love to do on Super Bowl Sunday, whether it's they have people over, you go to somebody's house, maybe you sit back in your favorite recliner, you get the old buffalo chicken dip out. Oh, love that. So good. Yeah, dip that in there. But then you can also jump on FanDuel, and not only is the Super Bowl going on, but, Carey, you can play some super bets.
Oh, definitely. You can, FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W, or 2, or 3, or however many you need to. Not only can you bet on who will win the Super Bowl, but FanDuel also has bets on which player will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers join today. You'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/fast to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/fast. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 and older, present in Illinois, $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues non-withdrawable bonus bets expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. fun show here in the Fast Lane. Thank you very much for tuning in. We talked about a lot of stuff today. We did our all-star cast of segments today, so you're going to want to go back and download the show. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Get over to 101ESPN.com or jump on the mobile app. Go to the podcast section, download the podcast. All of that brought to you by our friends over at Dobbs Tire and Auto. All right, so we got Bet the Board here, and we have an interesting scenario because Marshy and I are tied. And so now we're going to go to a tiebreaker, which is tonight, is a basketball game that Carey has picked. We flipped a coin in the commercial break. I won the coin toss.
Yes.
The game tonight is the Indiana Pacers at the New York Knicks. It's just straight up. Nothing fancy about this one. We will have a winner. We will have a loser.
You will.
I'm going with the home team.
Okay. -2, or are you going money line?
That's just money line.
Money line. Okay.
So New York Knicks at home against the Pacers. Should be a pretty good game from what I'm told.
Should be.
I have no idea. Marshy, you got the Pacers.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
All
that.
right.
They're a solid team. Should be a good game.
All right, good.
Good luck to both of you all.
Yes.
Okay, we had a lot of action today in the Air Comfort Service text line chat, we'll call it. And we also had a lot of action in the snake pit. So what do we got for criticisms and compliments, Marshy?
Yes, from the 314, you guys rock. Love all your sports stories. Thanks for another great show.
Well, thank you very much. I got one from Canada.
Oh.
I had to show Carey this in the break. But Mama Rivers, old Mumsy up in Canada, she watches every day on the YouTube channel, and she sent me this text out of the blue. Mama Rivers says, I love Carey. He makes me laugh all the time. It's contagious.
Mama Rivers, I love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for that wonderful text message. That was awesome. That made my day.
There we go.
We have another one from the 618. Such a great show and original content. LOL.
Glad you liked it.
It may not have been original topics, but the content, I'll tell you what, was original. You go back and listen.
Speaking of content, let's get to our 3 stars today. We'll start off with our 3rd star, and that goes to our Gauntlet contestant, Steve, for being such a giver.
He was. It was. You go back, especially on the YouTube page, have a little listen to that one around the Gauntlet time there, and might get a chuckle or two out of that one. But hey, Steve, thank you.
This next one, our 2nd star of the day, and FedEx Brian texted this in, goes to Wes. Wes was one of our mic drops for sounding like Lumberg from the movie Office Space.
He did. He did. Oh, that's great. We had some good mic drops, good participation.
And here is Wes's mic drop for those that did not hear it.
Oh, the blues. Can't say I have the blues about the blues, but I'm here watching. But you know, occasionally I find myself lowering the volume and reading a book. I'm reading books instead. I mean, come on. Yeah. That's not a good sign, is it?
That's where it is right there. Yeah. I'm going to need you to work on Saturday. I'm going to need those progress reports.
Oh. All right, let's get to our 1st star of the day. We received a text message. Some would say it was a compliment. Others would say it was a criticism. We just called it a crap sandwich. But our number 1 star of the day here in the Fast Lane to start off the month of February goes to Carey for being good at radio.
Well, for not sucking at radio.
For not sucking at radio.
I appreciate you not sucking at radio, Carey. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you.
Especially with our guy Anthony out for a little bit here. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with a fully original show. I can promise you that. We'll finish up our Blues breakdown leading up to the All-Star break. We're going to talk about the defensemen. We're going to talk about the goalies. We're going to talk about the coaching staff. We're even going to dive into Doug Armstrong and, you know, what he's done so far, what he might do now at the deadline, and what he might do in the off season. All of that coming up on tomorrow's show. We really appreciate all the listeners. We'd love to hear from you in the Air Comfort Service text line, and we'd love to hear from you in the Snake Pit. My guy, Kerry Davis, He doesn't suck at radio. We're thankful for that. DJ Dirty Elbows, Marshy, thank you for what you do. Everybody else, have a great night.